A soft gasp escapes into the fiery, abstract void. As Jin's mind races, questioning his own capabilities. He shouldn't attempt things he's not good at, he supposes, feeling like a complete mess regarding his job, his co-workers, everything. A pained groan escapes him, his hand now visibly bloody. Later, at a hospital, a voice asks with concern, "You're going to be alright, right?" Jin, standing among other doctors, responds with frustration, "Why would I go somewhere where I'll just be suffering all the time?" His male colleague, wearing glasses, offers a light-hearted retort, but then again, looking back at it, "Nothing's ever gone right when I'm working with you, huh? It's for the experience. I'm sure you'll be fine with me." Who would have imagined that a war would break out in the very place he went to volunteer? The very air is charged, a crimson mist swirling across the barren ground, hinting at the chaos to come. Through the swirling crimson, he's hit with the brutal truth, this isn't just a skirmish, it's a full-blown civil war. Staring at the devastation, Jin's frustration boils over at the lack of beds, but his doctor's oath. Unbreakable. He's demanding answers about the vanishing medical supplies, the last life-saving dose already gone. Against all odds, he stands firm, a doctor to his core. The sheer pressure of the war crushes him, his body weary as the crimson chaos engulfs him. Meanwhile, a grotesque monster towers over a downed ally, uttering a chilling "doctor" that sends shivers down the spine. The very ground shakes as a colossal, armored warrior charges, its thunderous steps flattening everything in its path. From high above, the sheer brutality of the war is laid bare, a relentless, all-out brawl across the shattered battlefield. Jin holds tight to the other person, the sounds of battle closing in fast as a panicked voice screams the rebels are already here. The air crackles with chaotic red particles, a crushing sense of dread pressing down. The person he shields shakes uncontrollably, their eyes blown wide with pure terror, a silent scream trapped within. Out of the swirling dust and chaos, a camouflaged rifleman locks on, taking aim. A spent bullet casing hits the ground before them, a chilling reminder of how close they just came. The person Jin shields screams in terror, but his cloak whips around as he pivots, a fierce, unyielding resolve etched onto his face. His hand shoots out, his foot slamming forward with a decisive click. Rain or tears stream down his face, but his eyes burn with a sharp, unwavering intensity. Then, a lightning-fast blur, Jin explodes into action, deflecting unseen attacks, a whirlwind of protective fury tearing through the crimson chaos. He's pushing through, giving it his all, even as a bullet screams past his ear, the air absolutely electric with danger. But this fight is brutal, and a sickening splash of blood hits the dirt as his face twists in agony. Then, a frantic voice screams from behind him, "Doctor. Doctor. Right?" He can barely choke out, "I'm." As the voice screams, confirming his identity, "Kyaa. Dr. Jin." His hand, now absolutely drenched in blood, shakes violently amidst the chaotic red energy. A doctor. Then, the world shatters beneath him, and he's plummeting, falling into a swirling vortex of vibrant green and blue power. The pain is absolutely crushing, and he feels his body tearing itself apart as he plunges deeper. Through the dizzying fall, one desperate thought screams, "Open. I'm falling." Waking up, a massive wave of confusion hits him, and a dull ache pounds behind his eyes. He blinks, and suddenly, he's staring up at a green canopy, a single thought screaming in his head, a forest. Totally disoriented, he tries to remember anything, but his mind is a blank, leaving him totally lost and confused. He lifts his hand, and pure shock electrifies him, this isn't his hand. It's tiny, it's a kid's hand. A faint bloodstain on his palm sparks a terrifying memory. The undeniable truth, he died. The realization slams into him like a truck. And he sits up, staring at his tiny hands with glowing eyes, trying to process the insane reality of being a kid again. Then, a brutal, painful image flashes through his mind, his own bloodied, lifeless body, confirming his death. The world around him was ancient, a complete departure from everything he knew, and the very air screamed of a forgotten era. He fought against the truth, but a cold dread began to grip him, this wasn't a nightmare, it was real. The metallic tang of blood was overwhelmingly real, a brutal testament to the carnage, and he could practically taste the lingering echoes of death. His eyes landed on a horrific scene, a body bisected with surgical precision, a wound that screamed of an impossible weapon, leaving him reeling at the sheer brutality. No bullets here, just raw, ancient violence. Lying amidst the carnage, he couldn't help but notice the bizarre, ancient clothing on the corpses, a stark reminder that he was truly in another world. Gazing at the alien sky, a chilling realization dawned on him, he'd somehow plunged into an entirely different dimension, a true void. The barren, alien landscape screamed the truth, he was utterly, irrevocably lost in a new dimension. Stretched out on the unforgiving earth, dwarfed by colossal rocks in this silent, alien world, he could only brace himself for whatever came next. He's trapped in a kid's body, but his mind? Still a genius doctor, sharp as ever. This world is ancient, nothing like home, and he's asking himself, is this the void? Is everything just gone? Those clean, sword-cut wounds on the bodies. This world is savage, and he knows he has to lock in, or he's next. He scans the barren land, and it hits him, get out, now, before those bandits come back for more. Then, a body. Is it help? Is it a trap? More importantly, are they even alive? He rushes to the fallen man, Dr. Mode fully engaged, and even in this chaos, his thoughts drift to his wife. What a guy. He drops to his knees next to the unconscious guy, and it's go time, he's stopping that bleed. Checking the damage, he realizes this dude is incredibly lucky to still be breathing. Crazy external wounds, but get this, no internal damage. Still, he's bled a ton, so it's bandage time, stat. After a quick assessment of the man's brutal injuries, Jean knew it was now or never, even without a single proper medical tool. He frantically scoured the immediate vicinity, desperate for anything useful, his gaze darting over scattered coins and forgotten trinkets. Then, a small, sturdy pouch snagged his attention, a glimmer of hope for the impossible task ahead. With a focused intensity, he pulled a strong thread from the pouch, ready to improvise a life-saving stitch. The agonizing procedure began, and Jean could only offer a silent apology, knowing the sheer pain he was about to unleash. His hands were rock steady as he drove the improvised needle through flesh, telling the man he just had to grit his teeth and bear the searing pain. Minutes stretched into an eternity as Jean worked with surgical precision, the sky itself seemed to hold its breath as he sealed the gaping wounds. Next, he expertly wrapped the man's arm, a quick, reassuring word that the brutal part was finally done. Gazing up at his unexpected, pint-sized savior, the injured man could only muster a raw, emotional, thank you. After his incredible field surgery, Jean still worries about the man's chances, knowing infection could still claim him. But the injured man, tough as nails, just shrugs it off, declaring he doesn't believe in miracles anyway. His meager belongings, just some worn sandals and a few coins, are all he has left. Jean clutches a small pouch, his mind already racing, planning their next desperate step. The brutal, endless wilderness looms, a silent threat reminding them just how alone they truly are. The man, now sitting up and looking much better, actually asks Jean how he's doing. Jean, though exhausted, quickly pivots, his thoughts already on the possibility of other survivors. With a silent nod, the man just gets up and walks off, leaving Jean alone in the desolate landscape. Jean realizes his incredible medical knowledge is powerful, but without proper gear, even he can only do so much. His fist tightens, a raw, red power sparking around it. No time for doubts, his mind is locked on one mission, saving everyone. His gaze burns with intense resolve, a soft blue glow radiating from his palm. As he unleashes his ultimate declaration. The world is a mess, a desolate wasteland under a blood-red sky, hinting at the chaos that just unfolded. And on the ground, bodies are everywhere, a brutal reminder of the fight that just went down. But Jean is still here, blood on his face, barely holding on, and he's thinking, getting blood is the easy part. He's staring into the distance, the weight of his powerlessness heavy on his mind, just do what I can, right? A wave of pure despair hits him as he faces the harsh truth, I can't save him. He pulls himself up, a small figure watching him, and starts laying down the cold, hard facts of survival. Emergency care 101, people, is this. The kid is hanging on his every word as he continues, figuring out who you can save. He lets out a grunt of pain, finishing his grim lesson, and who you can't. His feet slammed onto the blood-soaked ground, a heavy thud echoing. A searing wave of pain ripping through him as his body screamed in protest. Every breath a desperate fight. Sprawled across the desolate, war-torn ground, Jean could only manage a pained groan, his body a canvas of fresh wounds from the brutal battle. He knelt among the countless casualties, a chilling tally in his head, only 3 had made it out alive, barely. The agonizing thought tore at him, a desperate plea for proper medical gear, for more lives that could have been saved. His normally warm golden-brown eyes ignited with a furious yellow glow, a raw surge of power and frustration burning within him. He balled his fist, a vibrant green aura exploding around it, a raw, frustrated, ugh, tearing from his throat. Still hunched, the green energy crackling around him, he could only desperately wish for the means to truly change things. Suddenly, Jean is ripped from his reality, landing in a totally unknown, ancient-looking locale. Elsewhere, a mysterious attendant is already on the scene, demanding confirmation. Is the Lord Dragon's secure delivery done? The attendant stands guard by a lavish carriage, its banner proudly proclaiming, secure delivery, mission accomplished. Jin's eyes blaze crimson, his mind racing to piece together the impossible puzzle. Who the heck sent him to 1970s Egypt? This is stuff of legends, not reality. Then, he spots them, multiple unconscious bodies strewn across the forest ground, all shielded by a mysterious, secure delivery, circle. A chilling realization hits him, a rescue team is probably on its way for this package. With a frustrated humph, he grabs one of the unconscious bodies and starts dragging them away, taking charge. Stranded in a strange new world, he gripped a massive sword, a far cry from his usual medical instruments. But after a clumsy attempt, the sword was just stuck in the ground, proving this wasn't his forte. He let out a frustrated sigh, thinking, the whole Lord Dragon thing felt light years away from his current mess. Shifting gears to survival, he started hauling a huge log, but man, this was seriously hard labor. He stopped, eyeing the massive wood and then the endless sky, thinking, this was a huge job for someone his size. Eventually, a rough but solid shelter stood tall, and he let out a huge breath of relief. Inside his new pad, he surveyed his work with satisfaction, pumped that he'd actually finished building it. He gazed out from his makeshift door, looking totally drained, another tired sigh escaping him. Later, by a tiny fire, he wrestled with his next move, questioning if a rescue team would ever show, or if he should just head down the mountain solo. A haunting memory flashes through his mind, a voice declaring, I'm sorry, but I can't do that, and his face twists in raw anguish. Deep in reflection, he shuts his eyes, then snaps them open, a profound sorrow burning in their depths. Hunched on the earth, he gazes into the void, wrestling with his harsh reality. Then, a stark truth hits him, I guess I really am a doctor after all. Daylight fades into darkness, and the full moon ascends, bathing the wild lands in its ethereal light. Within his makeshift shelter, he delves deeper into his past, remembering, at first, my reason for becoming a doctor was. He confesses to his own thoughts, that I could earn a lot of money. His eyes ignite with a fierce, golden resolve as he declares, it was just a living, nothing more. But if I'm trapped here, then I'll fight with everything I have to survive. But his focus shatters as he spots a gruesome scene, shouting, what? I got dragged into a civil war just for some volunteer work. Shot and unable to save the kid, the memory burns as he eyes the tiny fire and the spent bullet casing. A rustle in the leaves, and he's thinking, wolves. In this Murim world, anything's possible. Arms crossed, he grimly considers, bandits mean wolves are definitely on the menu too. A tattered scroll unfurls, screaming for a rescue team from Cloud Dragon Culture Delivery, and that name. It's ringing a bell. His eyes pop open, it's from a super common kind of story he knows. Then, a sharp command, a bullet casing clinks, and he's yelling, what's going on? His senses flare, someone's coming from that tent, definitely on their way. Staff in hand, he braces, thinking, is this the rescue team? The casing sits, but a vibrant purple energy pulses from afar, signaling an imminent arrival. Suddenly, a system alert or a powerful thought screams out, Cloud Dragon Culture Delivery. He quickly shushes himself, rescue team is on the way, but something feels off, and he can't shake the weird vibes. Then, from the far-off buildings, a vibrant purple energy starts to pulse. Getting brighter as a whole squad on horseback, with wagons in tow, closes in. Their silhouettes sharpening against the barren land. Jean stays totally hidden, watching their every move from behind a bush. A rider, sporting a dark topknot, can't help but comment on their crazy cargo, shouting that these wagons are absolutely wild. A knowing smirk plays on Jin's lips, a total déjà vu moment, because he's pretty sure he's read this exact story before. His eyes snap open in a flash of understanding, the Cloud Dragon Culture Delivery mission suddenly clicking, a forgotten memory rushing back. Flashback time. A woman with long, dark hair hovers over a younger Jean, who's totally lost in a book, teasing him about reading novels instead of doing something else. He flashes back to a time when a woman's voice would totally call him out, telling him to ditch the fantasy novels. Back then, he'd totally defend his reads, like, Supreme Demon King. It looks awesome. He scratches his head, trying to brush it off as just a crazy coincidence. But then, a super serious voice just cuts right through the memory, with an older guy yelling, my lord. Suddenly, he's kneeling before this epic wagon pulled by horses, with the older guy right there, like he's literally stepped into one of his favorite novels. His eyes go wide with total shock, and this massive realization just hits him like a truck, making him think, no way, this can't be real, right? Falling from the heavens, a lone figure streaks across the sky, heading straight for a wild, untamed mountain range. An eagle, a true king of the skies, watches the whole thing unfold with its razor-sharp gaze. And then, just like that, Jean is on the ground, immediately confronting an older man, asking if he's the one he's supposed to be delivered to. The older guy is totally caught off guard, only able to let out a surprised, huh. Meanwhile, a single, empty bullet casing just sits there on the ground. While the older man, still staring up at the sky where Jean literally just dropped from, can only whisper about how massive this whole situation is. Then, he finally gets it together and formally introduces himself to Jean, announcing, Kid, I'm the Lord of the Mountain, the guy you're here to see. Jean, a little shocked, repeats the title, then quickly says it's an honor to meet him. The Lord of the Mountain, now totally calm, just brings up the delivery, his eyes locked on Jean. Peeking from behind a curtain, the Lord of the Mountain surveys his domain. Then he turns to Jean, dropping a bombshell. His ancient texts mention 0 monsters, only a massive number of humans. Jean, processing the bizarre revelation, can only ask if he really heard that right, and the answer is a firm yes. The Lord of the Mountain presses on, revealing that in the ancient novel, the White Dragon stands alone as the sole entity across all 3 realms. He elaborates, the White Dragon earned his legendary name because his hair is an exact match for the shimmering scales of a true white dragon. With a contemplative stare towards a blinding light, he emphasizes that this singular being is the only one ever referenced in the entire novel. Jean, reeling from the bombshell, frantically sifts through his memories of the novel, thinking, he told everyone this? This can't be the Dragon Lord. His mind races, confirming he knows the entire novel by heart, and yes, it's definitely the one from the book. The weight of the revelation hangs heavy in the air, as the desolate, dusty landscape stretches endlessly under a muted, ominous sky. Hold up, the plot thickens. We're talking about the Supreme Dragon King novel, and it's about to drop some serious lore. The Lord of the Mountain just finished the book Jean handed him, and he's dropping a bombshell. The main character is a dragon. And this isn't just any dragon. The Lord of the Mountain is hyping it up, saying it's the only one of its kind, existing before everything else. But wait, there's more. This epic dragon isn't even the main event until the 2nd book of the series. Then, the big reveal. He drops the name, and that character is the White Dragon. Jin's face just changed. The name, White Dragon, clearly hit different, and he's processing some serious info. The Lord of the Mountain sees Jin's reaction and gives a knowing, oh ho, totally calling him out on knowing exactly who the White Dragon is. The tension is palpable. Jin's hand is still, but you can feel the gears turning in his head as this new info sinks in. Jin's arm pulses with an otherworldly blue glow as the White Dragon channels raw, ethereal energy, mending his wounds with incredible speed. Watching the incredible display, the Lord of the Mountain demands, how are they doing? The White Dragon, still channeling power, shoots back, how'd you even find this guy? The Lord of the Mountain grimly states, he was barely clinging to life. A quick look at the patient confirms it, the White Dragon declares, my healing's already got him on the mend. Just as Jin's eyes snap open, the White Dragon lets out a surprised, it. A smirk plays on his lips, his electric blue eyes blazing as he declares, that's one incredible suture. Jean, still groggy, questions, wait, is that about? The Lord of the Mountain cuts him off, no, he was practically dead. Jin's mind races, I just wanted to save lives. The White Dragon, a contemplative look on his face, muses, healers who think they're gods. That's a rare breed in cultivation. Facing the White Dragon, the Lord of the Mountain announces, I'm leaving half our forces with you. They're your responsibility now. After the intense healing, Jin's out cold, but the White Dragon is already on the move, heading away from some ancient ruins. Only to be met by the Lord of the Mountain, who immediately demands an update on Jean. The dragon's like, he's fine, but seriously, he pushed way too hard. The Lord of the Mountain defends his actions, saying he had no other option, it was life or death. Their intense discussion echoes through the desolate mountains. Back at their hideout, the White Dragon's already whipping up some grub over a crackling fire. Then he turns to Jean, who's still out cold, and mutters, dude, you seriously overdid it, master. The Lord of the Mountain doubles down, I had no choice, alright. He then admits, I knew the White Dragon was good, but this was next level tough. Still stirring the pot, the White Dragon shoots back, alright, I saved your family, so now you owe me big time. The Lord of the Mountain gets it, family's everything, and the White Dragon presses on, so, you can repay the Cloud Dragon by making a special delivery. Fair's fair, right? The Lord of the Mountain, still locked in conversation with the Cloud Dragon, totally gets it, he knows the weight of saving family. His hair now a fiery orange-brown, the Cloud Dragon just coolly responds, I know. His face softening, the Lord of the Mountain then asks the big question, is the Cloud Dragon really going to take on a disciple? Gazing at Jean, now with striking white hair, the Cloud Dragon confirms his plan, dropping a bombshell, the Lord of the Mountain's life will get even shorter if he tries to stop him. He doubles down, admitting he knows the risks, but for him, this kid is absolutely worth it. His eyes stay locked on Jean, a silent, fierce resolve etched onto his face. Above them, a breathtaking mountain range pierces the sky, its misty peaks a stark reminder of the world's sheer scale. The White Dragon drops a bombshell, revealing they're standing in one of the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service's secret bases. Admitting the trip was brutal, but he wasn't fully clued in when they cut him loose. He then challenges Jean, asking if he even grasps why he's still breathing, implying that without his intervention, everyone would have been wiped out. The White Dragon presses on, declaring it's no exaggeration to say Jean single-handedly saved those patients' lives. Even though he was the one who finished their treatment. He then drops another bomb, no major side effects, and thanks to Jin's actions, both the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service and the noble tribe now owe him big time. Jin, clearly taken aback, questions the noble tribe, and the White Dragon confirms their legendary status, describing them as a once mighty people always armed with a sword. He elaborates that a girl from this noble tribe was actually sent to the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service for intense training. And finishes by admitting that if Jin hadn't shown up, everything would have gone sideways. He's no master, just a doctor with a knack for healing, plain and simple. A hand reaches out, and he brushes it off, claiming it's nothing, just. A raw groan rips from his throat, his face a mask of agony. Meanwhile, a dude with fiery orange hair cradles a sobbing kid, trying to calm them down. His face etched with worry, he warns them to be careful, at least for now. Then he turns to Jin, asking if he's General Yu-Ho, the Cloud Dragon God's legendary doctor, like, that's him, right? The White Dragon muses that the struggled characters aren't half bad, and Jin, ever modest, just says he did his best with what little he knew. Jin cracks a small smile, holding his cup, totally stoked that he actually helped out. He's now standing with the White Dragon and the Lord of the Mountain, a powerful trio brought together by his deeds. The Lord of the Mountain, the White Dragon, and an Elder are locked in a tense moment, the Elder declaring the Cloud Dragon's grudge and sorrow are absolutely boundless. As the White Dragon confirms the Cloud Tribe's massive debt, a hand offers a mysterious, glowing red item, and another hand snatches it, a voice barely whispering, but this is. The onlookers are absolutely stunned, their faces contorted in pure shock at what they're witnessing. It's a legendary, glowing golden orb, the fabled 100-year-old medicine ball. This insane artifact was forged from a pine tree, chopped down from a super-secret, sacred spot. And then using the sap from its roots to craft the medicine ball itself. They say it holds the life-giving power of a 1,000-year-old tree. Jin, gripping the orb, is absolutely floored, declaring he's never felt such insane spiritual energy from anything. The White Dragon reveals everyone's shocked the Cloud Dragon even held on to this treasure, and without this kid, the Cloud Dragon's only hope, the Black Dragon, would have been toast. He makes it clear, the Cloud Tribe is not giving up the heir of the Song Tribe. Standing next to the young heir, the White Dragon finishes, declaring the Cloud Dragon must have given this incredible gift to the child out of sheer respect. Just do what you can, right? And that was enough. General Yu-Ho, ever the caretaker, offered Jin a pot, telling him to get some rest, saying it'd help him sleep. But Jin, focused on his patients, asked everyone to clear out, so they could finally get some peace. The general was totally on board, telling the White Dragon that Jin had absolutely blown past all his expectations. Standing over the sleeping child, the White Dragon got a little sentimental, admitting it was kinda embarrassing how much she reminded him of his own kid back home. Meanwhile, a mysterious, glowing book lay nearby. As the heir of the Song Tribe finally got some peaceful sleep in her bed. Later, Jin was catching some Z's too, but even in sleep, a question gnawed at him, was he really the great doctor's disciple? Outside, the White Dragon and General Yu-Ho were still chatting, both admitting they were super worried, even if they believed in Jin's awesome lineage. He faces his ally, who can only stare back in disbelief. A fierce determination burning in his eyes. Then, with a flash of light, he reveals a shimmering needle. Declaring this potent medicine will awaken the young man's spirit, despite his ally's urgent warnings about the extreme risk. The glowing needle pierces the skin. Drawing closer to Jin's eye with chilling accuracy. A powerful golden energy erupts from his form as the treatment surges through him. Leaving the general to grapple with a mix of awe and resentment for the young doctor's fate. But for Jin, now marked by his master's choice, an easy life is a luxury he can no longer afford. A crushing void consumes him, a massive, gaping hole where something essential used to be. This isn't like those graceful butterflies, he realizes, this is something far more sinister. He's absolutely sure of one thing, he didn't do this to himself. A terrifying vision of being trapped, caught in a spiderweb and impaled by needles, assaults his mind. He lets out a guttural, frustrated cry. He curses his tormentors, a desperate, primal scream for help erupting from his very soul. The desperate plea for release grows louder, a dark butterfly fluttering through the glowing confines of his mind. More than anything, he just wanted it to end. Then, a blinding, explosive light erupts, engulfing everything. As the intense light fades, his vision snaps into focus, revealing the familiar wooden ceiling above. He stirs, the same unsettling images from before he passed out still burning in his mind. As his eyes snap open, a wave of pure disorientation hits him hard. Then, a vile, putrid stench slams into him, making him reel. He tries to shake off the haze, but that stench just gets worse. He pushes himself up, his foot hitting a grimy, unfamiliar floor, and the air itself just reeks of rot. It's an indescribable, vulgar stench, something truly putrid and sickening. Then, a sudden, horrifying realization hits him like a truck, he's completely naked. Panic starts to set in as he frantically looks around, utterly bewildered, screaming internally, what is going on? Blasted by a torrent of crimson energy, he grits his teeth, pushing through the raw force of the attack. A bullet casing spins and drops, a silent testament to the chaos, but Jin's spirit burns brighter, refusing to yield, vowing to unleash everything he's got. Waking up in a daze, Jin's first thought is pure confusion, his mind reeling from whatever just happened. Then, a shocking realization hits him like a truck, he's completely, utterly naked. But before he can even process that, a serene voice cuts through the air, casually noting his return to consciousness. It's the White Dragon, casually kneeling there, offering him some mysterious liquid, and just dropping the bomb that he's been his personal nurse. He goes on, totally baffled that Jin's body somehow shrugged off the honey grass's effects, leaving Jin with a massive HUH plastered across his face. But Jin's not having it, still processing everything, he's got some serious questions that need answering first. The White Dragon, ever the calm one, tells him to eat up after all that blood loss, then he'll spill the beans on the whole honey grass saga. Jin's like, my body's totally fine, thanks, but he's not budging until he gets the full, unedited version of what went down. Still held by the mysterious White Dragon, Jin isn't having any of the casual talk, demanding respect. And the dragon just agrees. What's going on here? But the White Dragon isn't done, bringing up the honey grass again. Jin's like, dude, I already told you. And get this, while Jin was out cold, the White Dragon casually dropped a bombshell, he performed a bone restructuring procedure. This isn't just any surgery, it's a legendary Murim bone restructuring, literally transforming Jin's skeleton as his body explodes with glowing, vibrant magic. Only the absolute best doctors can pull off this kind of legendary Murim procedure. Jin is totally floored, wondering what this insane transformation is going to kick off. Days later, as the dust settles and Jin finally connects the dots, he stares at the White Dragon with a mind-blowing realization, you're the dragon? General Yu-Ho shouts, his voice filled with alarm. The White Dragon, ever so calm, replies, stating that intense pain is just part of the bone restructuring process. But Yu-Ho isn't convinced, pointing out this is way beyond normal medicine, and demanding to know why such a brutal procedure is even a thing. The White Dragon just smirks, a chilling glint in his eyes hinting at secrets. Meanwhile, Jin's body is thrashing wildly in the glowing liquid, his black hair a chaotic storm around him. His face is a mask of pure agony, as he fights against the brutal transformation. Bubbles erupt around him, each one a scream of the immense power surging through his body. The water pulses with an otherworldly glow, highlighting every agonizing moment of the ongoing procedure. The White Dragon's voice booms, revealing this bone restructuring is next level, and the more Jin endures, the more unstoppable he'll become. He's in a new place, and it's clear they've pulled out all the stops, giving him the absolute best facilities they have. But then, a searing pain rips through his head, forcing him to grab it in pure agony. With the White Dragon and General Yu-Ho watching, he's totally lost, unable to remember them, his mind just too fried to care. He knows this memory blank is a constant problem, a convenient, headache excuse he's used over and over. The White Dragon actually apologizes, admitting he nearly forgot to check Jin's memory. But Jin's already thinking ahead, secretly wondering what they could even do if he just pretended to be clueless. The White Dragon just keeps going, declaring he can call Jin whatever he wants, and that he hasn't forgotten a single thing. He then casually explains Jin's confusion is totally normal, since he literally just popped up and got a bone restructuring from the White Dragon doctor. Back in the glowing liquid, Jin's transformation is still underway. Deep within the glowing liquid, Jin's eyes lock onto a chilling sight, a small, lifeless form, a child's body, drifting eerily close. He stares at the child's face, a haunting mirror to his own shattered mind, and the grim truth hits him, it's undeniably the body of a child. A crushing wave of confusion slams into him, his mind a blank canvas of forgotten memories, leaving him to desperately ask, who am I? What am I even doing here? Then, a bizarre thought sparks in his disoriented mind, a strange notion that if this were a wolf's body, its memories would have already snapped back into place. He grimly notes the relentless passage of time, realizing he's been trapped in this hazy, memory-wiped state for what feels like an eternity. The crushing weight of his amnesia bears down, a whole life, utterly erased, completely gone. It's a terrifying void, this gaping hole where his past should be, but a defiant spark ignites deep inside him. With glowing particles swirling around him, a sharp, decisive sound escapes his lips, a clear signal of his awakening resolve. His eyes now burn with fierce determination, as he declares his intent to carve out a new existence, demanding to know how he should live from this point on. A brutal flashback hits him, injured, a child's lifeless form beside him, and a white-haired figure standing over him. The chilling question from the past rings in his ears, anyone who would know about this body, I'm being hunted by bandits. The vision snaps to a desolate, mountainous landscape, a chilling memory of a place where he heard the grim news, and that they were headed to Seoul. The white-haired figure's chilling words echo in his mind, it was mentioned many times in the past. A brutal realization hits him, that the white dragon knew you existed. The flashback intensifies, the white-haired figure's voice booming with power, Jean, the person forced through the gate. He feels the raw energy, a jolt from his past, as the figure reveals, there, the most important memories are stored. Floating in the luminous liquid, he grapples with his identity, I am nothing, a blank slate. A new memory flashes, a council of powerful figures, the general, the lord of the mountain, and the white dragon. A voice from his past declares, I am a doctor. He recalls his own declaration, spoken with unwavering conviction to the powerful assembly, I have always worked for others, for their families. Back in the present, his hand pushes through the glowing liquid, a silent reach for something new, something more. His eyes snap open, a fierce determination burning within him as he confronts his uncertain future, perhaps, now, that I have none. He shuts his eyes, a deep exhaustion washing over him as a powerful thought resonates, I finally deserve to have a family of my own. Memories flash, the white dragon, the Song tribe heir, General Yu-ho, each a ghost of his past, fueling his resolve as he declares, I deserve happiness. And for that, I need to get stronger. The Lord of the Mountain, then a younger him, flash by, his inner voice firm, no way I'm getting tangled in anyone else's promises. His eyes blaze with resolve, a powerful declaration escaping him, if I can't even protect myself, I have no right to protect anyone else. He locks eyes with his reflection, a new resolve hardening his gaze. His face transforms, a quiet confidence emerging as he states, I'm way stronger than I used to be. And that's not all. A ghost of a smile plays on his lips, a memory of his doctor days resurfacing, as he finishes, doctors are always needed, no matter where you are. The memory solidifies, Jean stands before General Yu-ho, backs to the viewer, locked in intense conversation. Their expressions now clear as the discussion unfolds. General Yu-ho sizes up the young man, questioning if this is the same kid he'd met before, as Jean, ever the diplomat, remarks on the general's refreshed look. The tea room is ready, setting the stage for their meeting. They move through the grand halls, a silent procession towards their destination. A pensive look crosses General Yu-ho's face, his thoughts clearly elsewhere. In the tea room, the heir of the Song tribe pours, but General Yu-ho's mind is on Jin's glaring weaknesses, no inner chi, and martial arts skills that wouldn't even pass muster with Murim clan kids. The master might vouch for Jin's spirit, but General Yu-ho isn't buying it, in his eyes, the kid is nowhere near ready. The general's mind races, imagining the consequences if this kid actually became the master's student. A heavy concern weighs on General Yu-ho, knowing the master's already dwindling lifespan would be cut even shorter. Jean, catching the general's blatant skepticism, can't help but feel a flashback to his intern days, that same old feeling of being doubted. The ancient building looms, a silent observer to the weighty discussion within its walls. He's locked in a tense standoff with the general, the air thick with unspoken doubts. The general doesn't hold back, declaring, the master's already short life. You're just going to make it even shorter. Then, with a worried glance, he urges, think about the master. You'd force him to make a bone-restoring elixir, draining his life force. Clutching the fruit, Jean remembers a story where even the weakest hero made it through by sheer will. He's decided, if I'm really going to be the master's disciple, I'll just have to give it my all. His gaze sharpens with resolve, his mind racing through all his past medical expertise. No chi. No problem. He'll just have to use his brain to save the master. He takes a bite, a new plan already forming. Okay, step 1, find some snacks. A tense gulp, the pressure mounting as he faces his next move. His hand clenches, a fierce resolve burning as he declares, I won't let that happen. With eyes blazing, a silent vow hardens his expression. The door swings open, revealing a hidden world within. Meanwhile, two mysterious figures, an elder and a young woman, are watching from the shadows, their eyes fixed on the unfolding events. Inside, the legendary Lord of the Mountain and the formidable White Dragon are waiting, their presence commanding attention. Then, a mysterious figure in a straw hat, their face hidden, bows low, a gesture of ultimate reverence. It's a woman, and she's pouring out her heartfelt gratitude, her words echoing with sincerity. And the heir of the Song tribe, a young child, is also thanking Jean, declaring that he saved their entire tribe from certain doom. The woman finally reveals herself as Noble Missouri, and she makes a solemn vow to repay her debt. Red energy explodes around Jean, a bullet casing hitting the dirt, as he locks in with an unshakable resolve, he'll do whatever it takes. Cutting back to reality, the Lord of the Mountain faces him, apologizing, admitting he's not sure how he can assist. Meanwhile, Noble Missouri observes the scene, her face etched with a sudden, worried look. With the meeting wrapping up, General Yu-ho gives his parting words to Jean and the group, assuring them of a future encounter. Noble Missouri makes her exit from the grand hall, her figure receding into the distance. Meanwhile, the White Dragon casts his eyes downward, lost in thought. While Jean processes events, a shocking truth comes to light, Jin Un Kaiyan, the last heir of the Jin family, is the only one who can use the divine healing art. But her wild powers made her an outcast, branded a monster and cast aside by her own blood. Back with Noble Missouri, an elder figure challenges her, insisting she's bound to the main family. Noble Missouri meets her gaze, a heavy look on her face, confirming with regret that she's stuck with the main family. The Lord of the Mountain drops a bombshell, declaring he's heading to the mountains to find the Song tribe's heir, and he wants Jin in on it. This is about Jin Kayang, the heir who was supposed to master the divine healing art from a mountain elder, someone who desperately wanted her back in the main Jin family line. But instead, her story took a dark turn, leading to an irreversible slaughter. Jin, with his eyes flaring red, has a chilling realization: he's basically stopped. A colossal future disaster. Meanwhile, the big players, the Lord of the Mountain, the Song tribe heir, General Yu-Ho, and the White Dragon, are all huddled up, wondering if this legendary heir is really the one who's going to take down the demon. Now, the spotlight's on Jin Kayang, right at the spot where that whole tragic incident went down. General Yu-Ho, looking absolutely determined, makes a solemn vow: he's not just stopping the disaster, he's taking down the entire conspiracy. The Lord of the Mountain takes a look, commenting that someone's looking way better. The elder, his voice thick with worry, presses him on his recovery. A weak cough escapes him, but he insists he's already back. Suddenly, the White Dragon drops a bombshell, calling him a monster despite his human form. But he's not backing down, declaring he'll do whatever it takes. The Lord of the Mountain confesses his lack of subtlety, and for some wild reason, it makes the recovering man's throat tingle, then itch. The elder offers a power-up, a mana recovery. A mystical glow ignites as the elder's hand connects with his, transferring raw power. He's baffled by the energy's true form, yet he can feel its subtle, potent force surging through him. That mysterious energy floods his very being. The White Dragon drops another shocker: his inner chi has been scattered. He connects the dots, realizing the divine healing art is the secret to his insane recovery, and now he's ready to unleash it himself. He's not backing down, declaring his resolve to simply do what he can. But the Lord of the Mountain is still reeling, questioning how a child with no martial arts training could possibly recover after absorbing a beast's essence. The White Dragon's face darkens, realizing the massive trouble they'd be in if this secret ever got out. The Lord of the Mountain stresses the chaos it would bring, with countless parents begging for help, and reminds the White Dragon of the huge debt he owes for the beast's essence. The White Dragon lets out a laugh, remembering the Lord's earlier doubts about Jin's fighting prowess, confessing he was just blown away by the doctor's insane medical skills. He's torn between feeling flattered and worried by the Lord's comments, especially since even the legendary White Doctor is apparently singing Jin's praises. The shocking truth: Jin's scattered inner chi is actually due to a GI-dispersing poison. The Lord of the Mountain confirms it: it's definitely a GI-dispersing poison. He's furious, demanding to know who would poison a child like this, and asks if the Cloud Dragon knows anything about it. While the Lord of the Mountain processes the shocking news, Jin Kayang wastes no time, cornering the White Dragon, demanding to know if her darkest suspicions about the perpetrator are true. The White Dragon confirms her worst fears, admitting the person she suspects is the culprit. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Mountain, deep in conversation with General Yu-Ho, questions if this treachery extends to a conspiracy within their very own group. General Yu-Ho doesn't hesitate, naming the Cloud Dragon as the sole perpetrator. And Jin, processing the gravity of the situation, mentally vows to purge any conspirators without mercy. Back with Jin Kayang, she's not just talking, she's giving orders. She tells Noble Missouri to arm their forces immediately, because an invasion could be imminent. The Lord of the Mountain, his face etched with grim realization, understands that this entire plot could culminate in a full-scale invasion. Jin's mind races, connecting the dots back to the camp's poisoning, confirming his suspicion that a massive conspiracy is unfolding. Later, the Lord of the Mountain finds Jin Kayang, expressing his deep regret for involving her in their tangled web of problems. With a resolute step, he strides away from the building, barking an order to an unseen subordinate: "Bring me the manager." Cutting back to Jin Kayang and the White Dragon, she hits him with the ultimate question, demanding to know if he knew about the GI-dispersing poison, leaving him stunned with a simple, "Huh?" He once believed he could conquer anything, that no challenge was too great. But now, staring down the abyss, he's hit with the brutal truth: he's still not strong enough. But with a fierce glint in his eyes, he vows to push his limits and do everything in his power. The atmosphere crackles in the main hall, as Jin Kayang confronts the White Dragon, the tension palpable for all present. Her voice cutting through the silence, she declares that whether it's the GI-dispersing poison or not, poison is still poison. Eyes locked on his, she presses, convinced there's no way he was truly ignorant. Then, shifting her focus to Jin, she confesses a pang of guilt for burdening him so heavily. With a decisive motion, she calls for them to sit, signaling the end of the direct confrontation. Jin absorbs her words, his face a mask of deep contemplation. He's laser-focused on one thing: money. Gotta get that cash, gotta get stronger. His eyes blaze, a primal hunger for wealth fueling his every thought. He remembers being the strongest in the wild, a total beast, and now he's gotta grind for that money, even if his past is a total blank. The Lord of the Mountain gives him a reassuring pat, but he's still lost in the mystery of his own forgotten history. Back with the group, Jin Un Kyung steps up, looking super serious, saying if even she can help, that's all that matters. The Lord of the Mountain calms the white dragon, who was worried his intimidating look might actually make things worse. Then, he looks at the little heir of the Song tribe, telling her not to judge a book by its cover, because he's still the boss of the Cloud Dragon Delivery Service. The white dragon, with everyone watching, declares them the land's saviors and vows to deliver on his promises. But the Lord of the Mountain just gives a skeptical, one-word comeback. General Yu Ho can't believe the lengths they've gone to, mentioning the bone restructuring procedure Jin underwent. But the Lord of the Mountain cuts in, a single word hanging in the air. Only for the white dragon to erupt in a mocking laugh, shutting him down with a blunt, ha ha ha, nope. Away from the others, Jin stares out from an ancient structure, his mind a whirlwind of doubt, confessing he has no idea what his purpose is anymore. As dusk settles, a massive traditional building looms, its ancient architecture shrouded in mystery. The night air is thick with anticipation, a subtle tension hanging over the ancient structure. The silence is almost deafening, broken only by the distant cries of the night, as if the world itself holds its breath. Suddenly, a shadowy figure materializes, slipping through the darkness with impossible grace, a ghost in the night. Every step is precise, calculated, a silent declaration of intent as they press forward. And then, another joins the fray, two silent predators converging on their target with chilling efficiency. But the infiltration is far from over. High above, a whole squad of dark figures materializes on the rooftops, ready to strike. They fan out with deadly intent, a silent army taking strategic positions across the entire complex. Under the cover of darkness, shadowy figures execute a flawless rooftop infiltration. Their movements so precise, so silent, that only a single pebble dares to betray their presence. Tumbling down into the eerie quiet below. A chilling realization cuts through the air, it's too quiet. Yet, a masked operative coolly reports, all agents are in position. From a vantage point, another agent scans the target. A subtle, almost imperceptible sound marking their advance. A shadowy figure, a master of stealth, glides through the undergrowth with impossible quiet. Their movements so precise, so utterly silent, that only those attuned to the deepest inner chi could ever hope to detect them. High above, on a moonlit rooftop, another agent's eyes gleam with predatory focus, their form a mere shadow against the night. But then, chaos erupts. An agent is violently hurled from the rooftop, and a furious, bearded guard leader roars, obliterate the enemy. A masked agent reels back, utterly stunned, as a searing, orange-hot energy engulfs another, sending them spiraling through the night. The rooftop explodes into a brutal battleground as unseen forces unleash devastating, orange flaming attacks. Their bodies contorting from the sheer, concussive power. Another agent is violently launched through the air, a blazing trail of orange energy marking their brutal trajectory. The infiltration leader can only watch in stunned horror, his mind screaming, what the hell, as his entire team is utterly decimated around him. A masked infiltrator strikes with deadly precision, their blade a blur of crimson energy. But before the strike connects, a shadowy figure in dark robes counters, launching into an intense rooftop battle, pushing the agent back. Elsewhere, a grizzled guard leader, eyes like steel under his black head covering, observes the chaos. Stunned, the masked agent snarls, how did you find out? The guard leader's voice booms, exposing their intel. The godly doctor, you seriously thought you could poison us without being caught? Then, a flicker of recognition crosses his face as he asks, you? The masked agent, finally identifying their powerful foe, curses, the white dragon godly doctor, this changes everything. Alright, then we're. The guard leader's eyes snap open, processing the revelation. But before they can react, a blinding blue energy blast erupts, slamming into them with devastating power, sending them flying with a scream. The masked infiltrator's eye snaps open, reflecting the sheer, brutal force that just slammed into them. Lord of the Mountain's eyes narrow, a sneer twisting his lips as he snarls, what a cheap trick. He channels his immense power, roaring forth the legendary Yellow Emperor's sword technique. The infiltrator is violently blasted backward, crashing into the rooftop with bone-jarring force. As Lord of the Mountain stands victorious, his blade blazing with potent blue energy against the dramatic twilight sky. The sheer impact sends the infiltrator plummeting from the rooftop, their masked face a mask of pure shock and agony. But just as they fall, a terrifying, monstrous aura explodes from them, their form grotesquely twisting into a snarling, red-eyed beast. Lord of the Mountain's gaze hardens, his resolve unshaken as he faces down the grotesque transformation. Without a moment's pause, he brings his blazing blue sword down, engaging the newly transformed creature in a fierce, decisive strike. The masked infiltrator's hand clenches, blade ready to tear through the air. But before they can even move, Lord of the Mountain unleashes a blinding golden energy, shattering the attack with an explosive clang. The sheer power of the clash echoes across the entire city skyline. The golden energy detonates, swallowing the infiltrator in a cataclysmic explosion of light and raw power. Shredding the very rooftop, sending massive chunks of debris flying sky high. The infiltrator is launched from the building, sent hurtling towards the concrete jungle below while Lord of the Mountain observes the fall. But the fight isn't over. Lord of the Mountain's hand ignites with a fierce green energy, his blade practically screaming with power. He unleashes another devastating strike, a torrent of emerald energy chasing the falling enemy. His face contorts in fury as he identifies the move, roaring out a challenge, Ghost King's swordsmanship. Are you with the demonic cult? Plummeting from the rooftop, the masked infiltrator's blue-glowing blade still crackles with energy, a desperate defiance in their descent. Red energy and a crimson blade ignite, a chilling glimpse into the vampiric ghost swordsmanship, as blood explodes. Still falling, the masked figure is consumed by that same terrifying crimson aura. The crimson blade itself seems to crawl, a malevolent force refusing to die. From the rooftop, Lord of the Mountain watches the distant figure plummet, a tiny speck against the darkening horizon. He recognizes the technique, a chilling thought forming. Without hesitation, he unleashes his counter, the Yellow Emperor's sword technique correction exploding with brilliant light. A blinding burst of energy erupts, engulfing the falling figure in a devastating explosion. His gaze sharpens, a grim question escaping his lips, it doesn't matter if you're using the demonic forces, or using them for your own purposes. The masked warrior explodes into action, a crimson blur of sword strikes, moving with unbelievable speed. Driven by pure resolve, he declares, my job is simply to protect everyone. You fools don't get what it means to be a warrior. His blade rips through the air, leaving shimmering energy trails as he unleashes a devastating, multi-directional assault. But just as his attack is about to connect, the old master strikes back with insane speed, a blinding flash of light exploding as he shouts, I'm faster. Die. The counterattack hits like a truck, sending shockwaves everywhere. The master's power keeps building, a swirling vortex of green and white energy swallowing his foe. The masked warrior's face twists in agony, completely overwhelmed by the devastating impact. A blinding explosion of light and force erupts, sending the masked warrior reeling backward. The master unleashes his ultimate move, the Yellow Emperor's sword technique, Rise of the Dragon, culminating in a massive explosion, swallowing his opponent in a dragon-shaped aura of pure, raw power. The Yellow Emperor's sword technique absolutely rocks Jean, hitting him with a devastating impact that sparks a terrifying realization, the Lord of the Mountain had been onto him from the jump. He's sent absolutely flying, tumbling through the air with a pained grunt as blood bursts from the hit. But the Lord of the Mountain isn't even fazed, his arms still blazing with that insane red energy, showing off his absolute dominance. With the idea of just wiping out the enemy burning in his mind, Jin's eye flashes with raw power, a chilling whisper escaping him, it started. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Mountain surveys the chaos, his voice booming with conviction, it's already broken out. His red energy just keeps on surging, swallowing up multiple targets who scream in pure agony as they're caught in the brutal explosion. But through some bars, Jin's eye is locked onto the battle, his stare absolutely unshakable. He just keeps watching, a silent, intense witness to the absolute chaos he just declared had begun. From a secluded chamber, a lone figure stares out, his mind already racing through time. A hushed voice echoes over a sleeping child, a chilling question hanging in the air, why hasn't he woken up yet? The speaker's thoughts turn grim, contemplating the brutal fate that undoubtedly awaits this innocent. Then, a chilling query cuts through the silence, is this truly fortunate? What kind of monster would even want this child? The horrifying truth is revealed, countless individuals have already gathered, all with one goal, to extinguish this child's life. Jin's gaze sharpens, a cold realization dawning as he understands, the entire world has mobilized to snuff out this child's very life. Against a backdrop of raging flames, a dire prophecy is screamed, the Cloud Dragon godly doctor is here, but cursed with an incurable body, destined to plunge the world into utter chaos. Whispers spread, detailing the catastrophic impact this birth would have on the powerful Cloud Dragon steel delivery service. And if that prophecy had fully unfolded? He's locked in thought, pondering the Cloud Dragon steel delivery service, a critical piece for the next big guarantee. But as his mind races, a sudden, unexpected hand reaches out, jolting him from his thoughts. His eyes fly open, a sharp, sudden sound echoing his surprise. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream rips through the silence, and his eyes blaze crimson as he roars in response. Shaken by the sheer terror of the sound, he frantically wonders what's happening, debating whether to rush out, especially since the patient hadn't even flinched before. Even in bed, the raw power of the scream hits him, confirming this is way beyond a bad dream. Back on his feet, a chilling thought strikes him, could this chaos be tied to the unmistakable smell of blood seeping in from outside? A subtle, knowing smirk crosses his face as he realizes, there was absolutely someone here. His eyes now burning with a fierce yellow glow, he triumphantly declares, "Found it." A hand expertly ignites a candle, the flame bursting to life with a sharp sizzle. And now 3 crimson candles blaze, their mystical smoke already swirling into the atmosphere. He desperately hopes this powerful aroma can overpower the stench of blood, keeping any ancient bloodlust from awakening. Then, an agonizing scream rips from his very soul, his eyes blazing with an infernal red light. The sheer power of his awakening radiating outwards in waves. Yet, as swiftly as it began, the chaos fades, leaving him utterly tranquil. Resting in his bed, a colossal serpent coiled protectively around him, Jean lets out a breath, finally achieving some much-needed peace and quiet. But his tranquility is shattered by a booming voice from above, the Lord of the Mountain announcing, "You owe me one, kid." Jean glances up, a knowing smirk gracing his features as he fires back, "Isn't being debt-free usually a good thing?" He's just sitting there, but the weight of the world is on his shoulders. People are dying out there, and he knows his rest is officially over. Staring into the darkness, he makes the call. Tonight, he's going out. No choice. The entire compound is a war zone. Fighters clash across the rooftops and courtyards, a full-blown battle raging. A grim truth hits him, it's gotten even worse. He's been fighting off this insane bloodlust, even while trying to save lives. His eyes blaze with an electric blue, his hand clenching into a fist. The decision is made. Chaos erupts inside. Shouts for help, more wounded pouring in, it's a desperate fight for survival. No more thinking. It's time. All those deaths, the Lord of the Mountain, the White Dragon godly doctor, and now, the dying people. It's all on him. He stands at the edge, looking out, and the only question left is, what's the move? He understood, standing still meant stagnation. His skills, his very essence, demanded growth, and there was only one way to achieve it. Even if he absorbed every first aid technique imaginable, it still wouldn't be the ultimate solution. The inevitable would still claim its victims, and he refused to put his own existence above the lives of others. His vitals were rock solid, a fortress of calm, yet he understood, a true doctor couldn't let raw emotion dictate his actions. But if he stepped up, he could be their salvation, then he'd grind it out with the Cloud Dragon Security Delivery Service, forging his path as a doctor in this harsh reality. And later, he'd become a legend, saving everyone. A fierce determination ignited within him. He saw it, a future where his impact was undeniable, a world transformed by his healing touch. Snapping awake, his eyes blazed with an unshakable resolve. He's still haunted, wondering if that kid actually made it out alive. Like, why did he even go all out to save him in the first place? The question just keeps looping in his head. Seriously, he has no clue. But then, bam. A crazy cough rips through him, snapping him wide awake with a shock. A frantic young guy is suddenly all over him, freaking out, because he's not breathing. He's yelling, "Ichiwai! Wake up!" Pure panic hits the guy, like, why is he not breathing? It's been almost a whole minute since he flatlined, and the dude's eyes are screaming desperation. Then, bam. A hard slap to the face, as Yeo Haraidun screams Jin's name, trying anything to get him back. A frantic voice screams for him to wake up, shouting, "Yeo Ha!" His head twitches. A subtle shift in the shadows. Suddenly, one eye bursts open, blazing with an infernal red glow, surrounded by a violent crimson energy. His eye dilates, a raw mix of agony and bewilderment, as a tear or sweat droplet streaks down his face. Before he can even register what's happening, a brutal, stinging blow slams into his head, courtesy of the blue-jacketed youth. His head whips back from the sheer power, the world a chaotic blur. But the blow is instantly met with an invisible counter, sending his assailant stumbling back, clutching his face and roaring in agony, desperate to know who dared send him. With his eyes still blazing with that fierce red glow, Jean lets out a frustrated "damn it." He grits his teeth, a raw, guttural sound tearing from his throat, as someone else can't help but notice the terrifying bloodlust already radiating from this kid. Yeo Haraidun lets out a guttural cry, his body violently recoiling from an unseen impact. But Jin's eyes ignite with a terrifying crimson light, a deadly promise escaping him as even the shadows behind him flinch away. His stare now a blazing inferno, he unleashes a chilling threat, crimson power erupting around him. The unseen strike connects with devastating power, Yeo Haraidun is sent flying, blood erupting from his lips as he screams in pure agony. With Jin's eyes still blazing, the truth drops, this is the moment, the catalyst that will forge Yeo Haraidun into the demon king of the future. This raw, untamed power surging through Jin, it's the undeniable mark of a natural killer. Jin's face contorts into a primal snarl, his eyes absolutely blazing crimson as a violent red aura explodes around him. Because before anything else, they are killers. It's not good for anyone else, and the more you kill, the stronger you get. A natural killer is naturally rewarded, not by grinding for power, but by the sheer will of the heavens. This ancient truth is known even to legends like the Lord of the Mountain and the White Dragon, making them stronger than anyone else could ever hope to be. As the name implies, they're literally murderers sent by the heavens themselves. Which is why they become pure madness to exist, but Yeo Haraidun, he contains that madness, just as you'd expect from the Demon King himself. Learning to keep it completely under control, he became the strongest person alive. Jin's own face twists with the sheer intensity of his power, a similar madness threatening to consume him whole. But he quickly shoves those thoughts aside, knowing this is absolutely not the time for introspection. His opponent is ridiculously strong, and he's got to find a way to defeat him. A sudden spark of insight ignites within him, and he lunges forward, eyes blazing with a new, dangerous idea, realizing the raw potential of his surroundings. His vision narrows, a terrifying red light flaring in his eyes, the plan locking into place with chilling precision. A violent surge of crimson power explodes around his head, twisting his expression into something primal and fierce. That same infernal power begins to swirl and gather around his outstretched hand, engulfing it in a roaring, crimson inferno as he seizes his objective. A wild, exhilarated grin splits his face as the flames erupt around him, a perfect, terrifying success. Engulfed in a maelstrom of raw power, he can only stare, bewildered by the sheer force he's unleashed. Yet, just as swiftly as it ignited, the furious red in his eye begins to dim, his intense focus easing. The sheer, untamed madness that had threatened to overwhelm him, is finally receding, allowing him to pull back from the brink. With the power surging, absolutely exploding through his veins, Jin feels an undeniable truth erupt from deep within him: he is the natural killer. A furious hiss of pure energy escapes him, his face a mask of raw power and laser focus as that crimson aura just keeps getting stronger. His eyes snap open, blazing with a furious crimson light, and pure, crackling red energy just explodes from his clenched fist. Without a second thought, he unleashes a devastating strike, the sheer impact sending a shockwave ripping through Yeo Haraidun's hand. The sheer force of the blow sends the martial artist absolutely reeling, a guttural cry of pain tearing from his throat as he's violently thrown back. He's sent flying, his face a mask of pure agony before he slams into the ground with a sickening thud. Yeo Haraidun is down, completely defeated, his body unmoving as Jin looms over him, that terrifying red energy still swirling around the triumphant victor. As Jin stares down, vicious red flames absolutely erupt around the fallen martial artist, consuming everything. Engulfed in the raging inferno, Yeo Haraidun struggles, coughing violently from the sheer, overwhelming heat and smoke. Jin is absolutely terrified, his face twisted in pure horror, realizing he just barely dodged death. He thought it was over. But then, a raw, red energy explodes around him, and his face snaps into a look of pure, unyielding resolve. He glares up, remembering the sheer disrespect of being completely dominated, just like some cliché from a bad novel. With the red aura absolutely blazing, he drops into a battle-ready stance, knowing this is the moment for a divine technique. His eyes are practically burning with red power as he unleashes a primal roar. Determined to first shut down the psycho in front of him. He unleashes a devastating upward kick, red energy streaking behind him, absolutely certain there's a way to win this. Then, a thunderous kwang rocks the air, and his eyes snap wide open in pure shock. As a game-changing realization hits him like a truck. Oh, right, that was the key. He lets out a primal scream, pure, unadulterated power exploding around him in a torrent of crimson energy, channeling the legendary Gango's favor. His face twists into a mask of raw agony and fierce resolve, purple lightning ripping through the air, a stark reminder that every favor, every grudge, comes with a price. His eye, a window to his soul, burns with an almost terrifying intensity. As his hand crackles with an unstable, explosive aura. The sheer backlash sends him spiraling, a red-streaked projectile. Slamming him down hard, leaving him momentarily stunned, but not broken. Then, his eyes blaze to life, a furious, blood-red glow, as he forces himself upright, a desperate query tearing through him: did it work? A jolt of pure shock hits him, his jaw dropping in disbelief at what he sees. Before his gaze sharpens, those glowing red eyes now fixed with a chilling understanding of Ryun, and the ultimate, undeniable truth: Gango's favor is a double-edged sword. He's holding someone close, a desperate voice screaming in his head: both of us, one of us has to stop here, has to stop him, no matter what. His own voice, raw with pain, cuts through the noise, a single word: please. That single word, please, is all that matters, a desperate cry in the void. Tears blur his vision as the memory intensifies, a haunting command: live a life apart from mine. Then, a violent burst of red and orange energy explodes from him, and a chilling voice demands: remember, your blood relation. The fiery power flares even brighter, the voice roaring: always, protect my nephew. Suddenly, a new, golden-eyed figure with a smug grin materializes in the vision, uttering a dismissive, impossible. Those words hit Jin like a physical blow, his eyes now blazing crimson, a raw, visceral shock twisting his features. His blazing red eyes lock onto an unseen point, burning with resolve, as he retorts, "You think I'd be safe if you just forgot?" Fresh from his mind-bending vision, Jin unleashes a verbal assault, demanding to know if the young man is just a puppet, controlled by demonic blood. But a single tear betrays his inner turmoil, revealing the raw emotion beneath his fury. With a faint, otherworldly glow, his hand shoots out, a silent, powerful gesture demanding answers. His red-orange aura explodes, his eyes burning as he demands to know, "How do you know that?" His hand practically ignites with raw power, a blazing testament to his awakened strength. Brushing off the "how" as unimportant, he leans in, his voice a dangerous growl, demanding answers about the Demon Emperor. His eyes ignite with a furious crimson glow, the red-orange aura around him absolutely exploding, a pure manifestation of his iron will. His glowing hand clamps down on the young man's arm, a raw, physical assertion of his absolute power. The young man desperately begs for his nephew's safety, but Jin's resolve is absolute, his declaration echoing, "These are my people. I will protect them, no matter who you are." His eyes blazed crimson, a raw, potent red aura exploding around him. As Jin's face contorted with pure, unyielding resolve. He declared with chilling clarity, revealing the truth of a parasite that lives inside and feeds off the body. Then, amidst a maelstrom of red and black energy, he dropped a bombshell, a way to rip out the parasite and even make its power his own. But there was a catch, he explained, "Leave the parasite, and the host lives on, allowing its power to be harvested once it fully matures." A heavy silence descended, then he leaned in, delivering the ultimate challenge, "What if I told you?" His power absolutely erupted, the red energy swirling like a vortex around him. Then, a voice, laced with pure shock and disbelief, pierced the tension, "Who are you?" Jin's blazing red eyes locked on, a sly smirk gracing his lips as he fired back, "And how do you know that?" Jin's mind races, his eyes locked on Yeo Haraidun, who confidently declares, "I know what you need." But Jin isn't fazed, his thoughts echoing, "Who cares how I look or who I am? It doesn't matter." Still clutching that mysterious red glow, Yeo Haraidun doubles down, "I know exactly what you need." But then, Jin's eyes ignite, flaring with a terrifying, blood-red glow that screams raw power. Suddenly, the entire scene erupts in a fiery maelstrom, a chaotic inferno swirling around them as they face off in the heart of the blaze. Through the scorching heat, Yeo Haraidun challenges him directly, "Are you targeting the Church of Heaven?" Jin's crimson gaze sharpens, his face a mask of cold dismissal as he scoffs, "Did he seriously think I'd confuse him with the blood of the demonic clans? Not surprising, he's one of them." His intense, glowing eyes never waver as he reveals their secret, they're always out there, deep undercover, on countless missions. Seeing Jin's absolute determination, Yeo Haraidun can only concede, "So, I guess that makes things pretty complicated for you, huh?" With a chilling certainty, Jin's reply is instant, his declaration sealing the fate of an entire organization, "Isn't it obvious? The Church of Heaven, or even just that woman, will now walk my path." He watches as Yeo Haraidun whips around, a shockwave of surprise hitting his face. Then, the young man's eyes lock onto something beyond the window, his focus razor-sharp. Suddenly, a nearby door groans open. And Jin's eyes blaze crimson as a scorching aura explodes around him, his gaze locked onto the mystery behind that door. His power surges, radiating pure heat, and a voice from the inferno demands, "What are you doing?" Yeo Haraidun, now on the stairs, stares up at Jin, who looms over him, and blurts out, "Is there anyone in there?" He spins around, shock etched on his face as Jin, with a deadly serious expression, declares, "There's a patient inside." Jin's voice cuts through the tension, sharp and urgent, "Quickly, open the door." A voice cuts through the chaos, revealing a shocking truth, "Someone's trapped inside this mess." Flames erupt, and a frantic voice screams, demanding the door be opened, now. The tension builds as the question hangs, a silent dare in the inferno. Jin, with a devilish grin, lays down the law, "Grab his hand or die." He even taunts, reminding them he could just finish them off and bounce. His face hardens slightly, annoyed that there's no cash in this rescue, and he scoffs at the idea of any gift the person might have. Seriously, he doesn't buy it. His intense stare locks on, a silent promise of what's to come. But the moment's broken by frantic shouts from outside, the homeowners are here, and they're yelling to open the door, fast. Then, a massive crash. The door's coming down. He stares down, a shocking realization hitting him like a truck. He remembers the prophecy, the one who carried the weight of the world is about to get absolutely dethroned. But in the heart of the blazing inferno, Yeo Haraidun is already clued in, sensing some seriously shady ulterior motives at work. He's totally confused by what's happening, admitting he had no clue before, but now a wild hunch is forming, and he's ready to take matters into his own hands. With the room rapidly becoming a fiery death trap, he dives headfirst into the inferno. His eyes ignite with a fierce, crimson glow, burning brighter than the inferno itself. The insane heat and pressure only seem to supercharge his resolve. And his glowing red eyes narrow, reflecting an unshakable, new determination. With a silent, powerful affirmation, he embraces his destiny and gets ready for whatever comes next. Dr. Jean lays it all out, proposing an alliance. Yeo Haridun, ever the pragmatist, knows he just has to do whatever it takes. But in another place, engulfed in a blazing inferno, his hand practically exploding with power, Yeo Haridun is fighting for his life, the heat closing in. An old man, desperately trying to protect a kid from the raging fire, screams for someone to hurry, because there's a young patient trapped in here. The martial artist's face twists in pure frustration, he curses the situation, knowing he can't do this alone. No time to think, he just grabs the kid, clutching them tight as the fire rages around them. His eyes are wide, a terrifying mix of fear and absolute resolve. He gets it now, the weight of this moment is crushing. Miles away, Jean feels the surge of chaos, his face grim as he realizes this isn't just a fire, it's something far worse. Back in the blazing hell, the old man, engulfed in fire, shouts that the kid has to get out first, no matter what. Feeling the desperate plea, Jin's hand starts to hum with a soft blue glow, he's about to unleash his full power. Yeo Haridun's face is etched with raw intensity, sweat pouring as the raging inferno closes in, but his resolve burns even brighter. The entire village is a hellscape of destruction, buildings crumbling into fiery debris beneath a suffocating, smoke-filled sky. He charges through the inferno, his shouts echoing over the blaze, a beacon of hope for those trapped. He's a whirlwind of action amidst the wounded, barking orders to prioritize the critical, ignoring the screams of agony from a man clutching his shattered leg. He pushes them harder, demanding they scavenge anything to transport the wounded. An old man stares, utterly stunned by the sheer audacity of the rescue, muttering about his own lack of mana and how this kid is operating on a whole other level. Across the chaos, Jean is a blur of motion in a makeshift clinic, snapping at someone to stop asking for magic, reminding them this is real medicine, not some parlor trick. He reassures his patient, but internally, he's wrestling with a grim reality. He's practically tearing his hair out over the infection risk, cursing the total absence of sterile tools or proper operating gear, desperate to find a way to save this life. With a guttural growl of frustration, he vows to do his absolute best, only for some clueless helper to question his bizarre surgical technique, leaving him utterly dumbfounded. Jean battles the infection with everything he's got, clearing most of it, but the grim reality hits him, it's not enough to fully eradicate the threat. But he's not giving up. He vows to push his limits and do all he can. Still, the brutal truth stares him down, he's hit a wall, there's nothing left to try. Two figures watch his desperate struggle, one commenting on the world's energy, while Jean, consumed by the task, feels the crushing weight of being trapped in untreatable agony. He presses on, desperately working on the grievously wounded child, his movements a blur of focused intensity. Elsewhere, the blonde-haired and white-haired men deliver a grim update to an elder, a staggering 25 injured, with 12 on the brink. Back at the makeshift clinic, the blonde-haired man voices his alarm over the child's state, while Jean, a whirlwind of medical precision, continues his desperate fight. He can't help but wonder aloud, how did this child get so utterly riddled with wounds? Suddenly, Jin's eyes lock onto a dagger. He needs something to extract the shrapnel, and despite its size, he knows it's his only shot, a desperate tool he'd grabbed from the chaos. The injured child struggles, but the blonde man's voice cuts through the chaos, demanding he hold still, and the boy can only manage a weak okay. Jin's eyes, having witnessed countless deaths, lock onto the wound, a grim understanding dawning, the shrapnel must come out, or the bleeding won't stop. A flash of electric blue ignites in his eyes as he spots them, the severed arteries. Well then, sir, the blonde man presses, while the elder scholar preps a potent bloodstopper, and the white-haired man declares they're ready for anything. A guttural cry of frustration and effort tears from Jin's throat as he pushes on. Then, a horrifying spray of blood erupts, painting the ground crimson. More blood, this time from the child's lungs, explodes outward with a chilling shriek. The bleeding is the problem, right? The blonde man asks, his voice laced with urgency, as the elder scholar pleads for just a moment longer. But Jin's desperate "No" echoes, silencing them all, as the elder scholar cries out in disbelief, realizing they're out of options. The kid's eyes were still wide, body still reeling from the brutal hit, a frantic "Doug" pounding like a war drum in his chest. Jin's hands shot out, a raw, crimson mana flaring around the kid's torso, a last-ditch effort to lock down the insane internal bleeding. The elder scholar, totally blown away by the psychokinetic mana, asked if it was enough, and Jin, locked in, just gave a sharp yes. No time to be impressed, he thought, the kid's life on the line, demanding a brutal choice, he had to cut it out himself. Scalpel in hand, the doc made the cut, his past medical genius kicking in, a skill he barely used anymore, but now it was everything. His hands flew, a blur of practiced speed, sealing the wound with surgical precision. The blonde, the white-haired guy, and the elder scholar watched, their faces going from stunned to totally relieved, as the young doc pulled off the impossible. The white-haired guy, especially, was deep in thought, trying to wrap his head around the insane skill he'd just seen. Later, the kid was chilling in bed, totally saved, while Jean and the three scholars stood by, a quiet, epic victory hanging in the air. Jean, still laser-focused on the recovering Yeo Haraidun, receives a respectful address from the elder scholar, who's absolutely stunned by the child's lightning-fast recuperation. The other scholars can only watch in awe as the elder expresses his deep, deep gratitude. Elsewhere, the blonde man thanks the white-haired scholar for his help, but he just brushes it off like it's nothing. The white-haired scholar confesses the whole thing felt totally unreal, like he was dreaming. The blonde man, however, is still lost in thought, his face giving nothing away. Raidun, who was just awake, is now totally out cold, shocking whoever's watching. He then wiggles around, finding the perfect cozy spot to keep recovering. After that incredible day, news of Jin's insane skills blew up, making him the absolute center of attention for every scholar around. Even with all the hype, Jin was still stubborn, trying to dodge the endless attention, but seriously, it was a losing battle. The blonde scholar, eyeing Jin, snarks about his sore muscles, as his white-haired counterpart reveals they've brought in a pro from the main house to keep him hidden. Whispering intensely, the blonde demands to know who's spreading rumors about Jin's noble lineage, while the white-haired man promises they'll lock down his identity and keep everything unofficial, so he can chill. But Jin, lost in thought, secretly relishes the sheer comfort of being in a child's body. He knows it's a strategic advantage, a perfect disguise for slipping into countless hidden spots. Deep in thought, he idly clutches a small, round fruit. Just then, the blonde scholar drops a bombshell. Dong Sun Hyen from the main house is here, and the white-haired man immediately assumes she hates her younger sister's face, seeing it as a total thorn, forcing her to hide her true feelings. Unfazed by the drama, Jin simply offers the fruit to the young girl. The blonde scholar, still caught up in the gossip, scoffs, declaring, they have no idea what they're talking about. He insists Dong Sun Hyen is her cousin, closer than anyone, and the white-haired scholar grimly concurs that rumors are seriously terrifying. He overhears them, the whispers about that child and his well-being. The white-haired scholar questions if he's the subject of their conversation. But the blonde scholar quickly dismisses it, confirming only minor bumps on his neck, treated by the doctor, a debt owed to such a powerful healer. The elder scholar cuts in, assuring them there's nothing to fear, as he's now powerless to harm anyone else, a realization that dawns on Jin as he walks away, once again the topic of their hushed tones. He muses on the effort even their esteemed doctor put into treating Dong Sun Hyen's neck. Even though the whitely godly doctor had already tended to him, deeming her a fortunate child. Elsewhere, the white-haired man reveals the prevailing rumor, Dong Sun Hyen orchestrated the assault. The blonde scholar expands on this, implying it was a scheme to eliminate her younger sister, Dong Sun Yang, and points out Hyen's failure to clear her name. But unbeknownst to the gossiping scholars, Dong Sun Hyen stands firm, resolved to shatter the rumors, safeguard her clan's honor, and never bring shame upon herself, her brother, or her faction. A single, crimson eye just glows with an unsettling intensity, reflecting the absolute turmoil raging inside Jin. He stands before a grand structure, his gaze fixed upwards, a low, guttural sound escaping him as if he's in some seriously deep thought. Nearby, the white-haired man observes him, his back turned. Jin's face just contorts in a pained expression, like he's grappling with some seriously overwhelming burden. The serene landscape of the traditional complex just stretches out around them, a stark contrast to the intense internal struggle unfolding. The white-haired man turns to him, his voice laced with concern, asking what in the world is troubling him so deeply. He continues, explaining that the problem literally began when Jin was found, and that his presence has totally complicated the mission. The scholar then reveals that Jin's potential to protect the mission is also the very thing that could absolutely destroy it. Jin clutches his chest, his face etched with pure anguish, questioning what he even has to gain from returning to such a perilous situation. He stares down, a storm brewing in his eyes, replaying words that haunt him. Suddenly, the tranquil outdoor scene is broken as he faces Yeo Haraidun, who drops a bombshell, declaring his trust is gone. Jin's eyes narrow, his face a mask of intense focus, absorbing every word. But then, Yeo Haraidun pulls a complete 180, proposing they become Hyung. Jin's jaw drops, a stunned what, echoing his utter shock at the audacity. Yeo Haraidun doubles down, a sly smirk on his face, insisting they become sworn brothers. Jin's patience snaps, his face contorted in fury as he fires back, reminding Yeo Haraidun that as the savior, he's the one who should be making demands. But Yeo Haraidun just shrugs off the anger, challenging Jin's outrage, and then drops the ultimate insult, he can't be sworn brothers with someone weaker. That's the last straw. Fueled by pure rage, Jin explodes into action, ready to throw down. The tension immediately spikes as a voice taunts him, daring to ask if he's really about to throw down with some civilian who's clueless about martial arts. Yeo Haraidun, ever the provocateur, just keeps piling it on, straight up scoffing at the thought that Jin could even grasp the real essence of martial arts. Then, with a smug grin, he drops the ultimate insult: Jin should just accept being his little brother. Jin's face twists in pure rage, and he fires back, daring him to hit him, confessing that even though it's ridiculous, he's totally drawn into this madness. But Yeo Haridun just lets out a dismissive "tch," his arrogant smirk not budging an inch. That level of sheer nerve leaves Jin absolutely floored, a silent exclamation point exploding in his mind. He shuts his eyes, taking a beat to get his head straight, his brain going a million miles an hour, processing the sheer audacity of this whole situation. He's weighing every single word, the disrespect, the wild curveball this whole thing has become. Then, his eyes snap open, burning with fresh fury and iron resolve, as he flat out declares he's just gonna do whatever it takes. Yeo Haridun's face contorts, a silent scream of pure frustration etched across his features. He lets out a primal scream, a guttural roar of pure, unbridled rage exploding from him. And then, as his fury hits its absolute peak, his eyes ignite with a fierce, crimson glow, an intense aura of raw power radiating from them. He locks his gaze forward, his voice tearing through the air in a desperate, raw plea, screaming out to Jin Cheon-hee. The serene sky above offers a stark contrast to the chaos below, as a chillingly calm voice cuts through the tension. Very good. Back in the lush forest, he stands with Gong Sun Hyen, both of them wide-eyed with surprise and a hint of concern. The young girl's eyes practically pop out, her small gasp a perfect echo of the sudden, shocking turn of events. A mysterious woman with dark, pulled-back hair is scoping out the scene, looking super intense. Out of nowhere, she pops up and confronts Yeo Haridun and Gong Sun Hyen, her voice sharp, asking them what they're even doing in this spot. But as they try to bounce, she hits Yeo Haridun with a surprise, calling him, "Savior Kiddo." That "Savior Kiddo" line totally stops him in his tracks, and you can see the shock on his face. She spills the tea, saying she's just grabbing flowers for her cousin, then totally puts Yeo Haridun on the spot, asking if he's some kind of herb expert because he's a doctor. He's like, not really a medicine pro, but still steps up to help out. So, the trio teams up, diving into the lush greenery, hunting down those special flowers she's after. Gong Sun Hyen, with her face totally lit up, gets super close to check out some tiny, beautiful flowers. He stands there, a heavy silence hanging around him, his expression unreadable. But elsewhere, in a serene garden, a different figure boldly declares himself to be Yeo Haridun and a doctor, with the young girl by his side hanging on every word. The tranquil garden, adorned with a pristine tea set, provides a brief respite. Before the woman who brought them here dives deeper into her cousin's desperate situation, pleading for their aid. She delves into the mysterious illness, desperate to know if this doctor holds the key to saving her cousin. The discussion takes a turn as the woman extends a magnificent, ornate spear, presenting it as a crucial part of her plea. The spear is a breathtaking weapon, its deadly tip glinting, and the real Yeo Haridun is utterly taken aback. He stares down, his resolve clear, flatly refusing the offering. Gripping the spear, he doubles down on his refusal, his determination absolute. She's not backing down, reminding him of the debt she owes, a debt even her noble clan would have honored. She clarifies, that was just her family's payment, not her personal gratitude. To her, the black pine cloud sword is her ultimate pride, destined to return to the clan, but if he used it, that would be a massive favor to her, putting it to its true purpose. With a radiant smile, she pleads, saying she'd feel so much better if he'd just take it. After a beat, Jean, playing the part, finally agrees to take it, and she instantly hits him with the next request: show me how to use it, just once. Time flies by in a blur of selfless dedication, the days melting into weeks within the ancient halls. But elsewhere, the real Yeo Haridun is lost in thought, a serious look etched on his face. Witness the legendary noble clan sword style as a master unleashes its power. Her eyes lock in, ready to unleash the devastating blue pine spiraling. This isn't just a move, it's a force of nature. Energy surges, and you can practically feel the raw power building in her hands, a storm of lightning ready to strike. Then, a blinding flash as her blade carves through the air, igniting the very space around her with pure power. She's a blur of motion, a whirlwind of steel and magic, every move a masterpiece of destruction. This isn't just flashy moves, it's the noble clan's legacy, all about relentless consistency and an unbroken flow. Flawless form, every movement perfected, this is what true mastery looks like. Forget brute force, real power, she's showing us, comes from inner peace and accepting destiny. This isn't just a fighting style, it's a sacred tradition, passed down to protect the innocent. She continues her incredible display, her noble clan swordsmanship both profound and absolutely amazing as she ignites a dynamic technique, surrounded by a white and purple aura. Her form is absolutely flawless, hair and robes whipping around her as she surges with blue and white energy. Executing each precise motion without even a single bead of sweat. She might be young, but she's already a recognized expert, a true prodigy. Her sharp gaze locks on, embodying the noble clan's tradition, countering with the quickest form using the absolute least movement possible. Right now, she's moving her body with effortless grace, yet unleashing a massive, unseen force. This is it, the ultimate technique of the noble clan, the legendary blue pine spiraling, now blazing with a vibrant red and white aura. In modern terms, it's the ultimate counter, her movement a whirling tornado dancing with the wind, absolutely tearing through space. And then, the continuity of her devastating technique finally comes to an end. As the swordswoman's technique hit its absolute peak, Jin's mind was blown, a total epiphany washing over him. Pure energy exploded from her blade. A radiant symbol erupting as one of the onlookers gasped, realizing this was a whole new level compared to just hearing the legends. The swordswoman herself became a beacon of power, her entire being radiating an otherworldly, explosive aura. Jin was absolutely mesmerized, his mind racing to grasp the sheer complexity of that power display. Meanwhile, the other scholars were buzzing, the blonde man wondering aloud if this insane display was even just a noble clan technique. While the elder scholar, absolutely stunned, officially declared her a grandmaster, his voice booming with the collective awe of everyone there. The swordswoman just smirked, a knowing grin spreading across her face as the scholars kept showering her with grandmaster congrats. The white-haired man was practically shouting, demanding that the noble clan head be told about this epic grandmaster achievement right now, as the cheers for the new grandmaster filled the entire space. The noble clan swordswoman, ever so humble, deflects all the hype, declaring her triumph was all thanks to the legendary blue pine cloud sword. Elsewhere, an elder figure dropped some wisdom on Yeo Raidun, admitting that even a kid's advice can spark a breakthrough. Jin, taking it all in, thinks to himself that it's nothing, a mere gift that can't even touch the real power of the blue pine cloud sword. But then, a sudden shift. The swordswoman and Yeo Raidun snapped their gaze downwards, faces contorting in alarm. A massive wave of shock hitting her face, her eyes practically popping out. Her hand shoots out, a desperate, silent cry for aid. Yeo Raidun hits the deck, surrounded by a frantic crowd. Someone screams his name, begging him to get up fast, even as he makes a fierce vow to push past his own boundaries. The tension is thick as everyone watches his struggle, a chilling silence descends. Jin, eyes blown wide with a sudden, chilling insight, grasps the truth, it was a memory technique, but one that plunged them into a terrifying state of self-forgetting. To unlock such profound insight, the swordswoman had pushed her very being to its absolute limit, draining every last drop of energy. Her talent was undeniable, but the cost was immense, her eyes burning with a fierce, strained crimson light. Utterly spent, she was barely able to stand, relying on the steadying hand of an older man. A single, poignant tear escaped, revealing the true, agonizing price of her power. Elsewhere, Yeo Raidun stood, his gaze intense and contemplative. He surveyed a vast, serene vista, a moment of calm after the storm. The very air around him still crackled with residual magical energy, shimmering across the stone. While the noble clan poured all their efforts into Gong Sun Rong's recovery, the world kept turning, and new events were already in motion. Yeo Raidun was on a mission, his resolve burning as he focused on tracking down his target. He hit the vibrant market near the delivery base, but a harsh reality check quickly reminded him, he was broke. But just in time, a payment came through, because the elders always hooked him up with their gifts. He quickly found Gong Sun Hyan, who immediately hit him with a plea, begging him not to go. He just laughed, reminding her he was the big brother, and this was just how big brothers rolled. Munching on a skewer, he couldn't help but wonder, had he even grown up himself yet? Then his eyes went wide at a Tanghulu stand, shouting he'd grab some and telling Hyan to stay put. And just like that, he bolted, leaving her in the dust. But his sprint was cut short when a burly, rough-looking guy snatched him, barking, "Where do you think you're going?" Just as he's about to grab his treat, a rough hand clamps down, yanking him back into the chaotic market. He stumbles, the market's noise suddenly deafening as the aggressor pulls harder. His little friend worries he's already in hot water, but Raidun just thinks, these guys picking on a kid? Seriously? The aggressor's face twists into a furious snarl, and he lunges, screaming, "You little brat." But before the brute can even land a hit, Raidun's arm blurs, deflecting the attack with a shocking crimson flash. The impact sends a jarring shockwave right through the aggressor's face. Without a second's hesitation, Raidun unleashes a devastating kick straight to the man's gut, delivering a final, bone-jarring strike that rips a scream from his opponent. Arg! The aggressor crumples, utterly defeated, his body twisting grotesquely as he hits the dirt. The aggressor's face twists into a mask of pure fury, his voice a guttural, enraged snarl. He lunges forward with explosive force, a crimson blur of pure, unadulterated intent. His assault is absolutely relentless, his face a contorted mess of pure, unbridled rage. But before that blow can even dream of connecting, a lightning-fast counterattack flashes into existence. It lands with such devastating force that the aggressor's face contorts in a mix of pure shock and agonizing pain. He's sent absolutely reeling backward, a crimson streak against the market stalls, as the stunned onlookers gasp in disbelief. A raw, guttural cry of agony rips from his throat. Yeo Raidun stands his ground, absolutely unmoving, his eyes burning with an intense, crimson glow, a faint red aura shimmering powerfully around him. He delivers a final, absolutely decisive strike. Boom! Raidun's attack detonates, sending a shockwave of debris flying. The aggressor is absolutely rocked, launched backward through the air. Raidun isn't letting up, keeping the pressure on. And just like that, the aggressor is down for the count, with Raidun standing tall, the undisputed victor. The crowd is buzzing, with one bystander totally floored, asking, "Who is that kid?" The blonde man, taking it all in, can't help but wonder if this kid, who just took down 3 dogs, is some kind of secret weapon from a famous clan. The white-haired man nods, acknowledging that those guys were definitely about to cause some serious chaos in the market. But the elder scholar just grins, totally chill, revealing, That's my little brother. He then casually adds, when? I guess that's not a problem. And Gong Sun Hyen, with a proud smile, echoes, he's my little brother, as Raidun's eyes blaze with an intense, crimson power. Raidun's caught off guard. A sudden, unseen force slams into him, hitting with brutal, unexpected power. Sending a spray of blood across his face as his eyes widen in pure disbelief. Suddenly, a blinding red flash rips through the air. Slamming into Jin with brutal force, sending him flying back as blood explodes from the hit. The relentless assault just keeps coming, every single blow ripping into him. His body twists under the sheer power, more blood exploding into the air with each devastating hit. The impact leaves him gasping, his torso visibly mangled from the sheer power. His eyes go wide with pain and disbelief, this relentless barrage is just too much. Blood splatters everywhere, a brutal testament to the violence he's taking. Finally, he crashes to the ground, blood pooling around him, while a young woman stares on, clearly worried. As the unseen assault continues to unfold, 2 men can only watch, their faces twisted in sheer disbelief and growing alarm. Meanwhile, Jin's eyes are blown wide in pure agony, the sheer power of the impacts ripping through him, leaving him reeling. But then, a furious shout rips through the air, as Yeo Raidun, blazing with a crimson aura, charges in, weapon raised, demanding answers. But even with the intervention, Jin is still violently slammed backward, the unseen attacker's power just too much. A brutal, bone-jarring punch smashes into his face, twisting his features into a mask of pure agony. He's thrown back again, his body reeling from yet another devastating hit. The relentless assault leaves him utterly broken and bleeding, his mouth gushing crimson as his eyes scream in torment. Battered and bleeding, Jin is still getting absolutely pummeled by an invisible force. Yeo Raidun looms over him, red energy exploding around the injured man. Jin's mind races, I forgot his true self, as he screams, what the hell are you? Then, the chilling truth hits him, he's a born killer, his blood screaming for murder. Yeo Raidun finally shuts down the invisible attack, but he's convinced Jin totally deserved it, telling him, a little more, while Jin, still fighting, yells, and let's go. He just stares, trying to process the monster staring back from inside him. His eyes blaze with a fierce, crimson glow, red particles exploding around him as the killer inside finally awakens. And get this, a magical tanghulu, a candied fruit, is absolutely pumping with an intense red aura, now hitting maximum overdrive. A primal growl rips from his throat. He's chanting a desperate, primal urge, I must have. I must have. Because the mission is crystal clear, turn him back into the ultimate, natural killer he was born to be. Meanwhile, 3 mysterious figures are watching, plotting to get something ready and put it right in front of him. The air crackles with anticipation as a shadowy group watches, one exclaiming, yes. He's finally making a move. Their eyes wide with a mix of awe and relief, they can only watch as the transformation unfolds. From the depths of the unknown, a voice booms, you're about to become something truly real. Jin's mind is a battlefield, his inner voice screaming, stay put. There's no going back to the old life. His gaze is a maelstrom of doubt, as he grapples with the impossible question, can a monster ever truly belong? His inner demon snarls, crushing any hope of redemption, you're a killer, pure and simple. You can't coexist with them, not when you couldn't even finish off your enemies. His hand shakes, a tremor of the monster within, when a voice cuts through the chaos, young master. There you are. Snapping out of his dark thoughts, he whips around, a surprised Ajusi, escaping his lips. It's Woon Ji-sung, the legendary leader of the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, who reveals, word got around, and I came to find you. Dam Ja-gang, a man of imposing presence, cradles a child, his voice laced with concern as he demands to know if they're both okay. Yeo Raidun quickly vouches for Dam Ja-gang, calling him his sworn brother, as Woon Ji-sung's gaze softens, fixed on the little one. Woon Ji-sung can't hide his astonishment at the child's rapid development, exclaiming how much the baby has grown since he was last around. But hey, wild growth spurts and unexpected twists are just part of the job, especially when you're in the high-stakes world of delivery services. Dam Ja Gang looks at the kid, a soft, proud smile spreading across his face. Yeo Haridun once again confirms his connection to Dam Ja Gang, and Woon Ji-sung is just beaming about how well the little one is growing. Then comes the big question, is he the young master? And the answer is a swift, confident yes. Dam Ja Gang marvels at the child's incredible strength, declaring that he'll be walking on his own in no time. A look of pure contentment washes over Woon Ji-sung's features, thrilled that the baby is thriving and everything is right in his world. Dam Ja Gang is absolutely beaming, cradling the young master like a treasure, playfully jabbing at Woon Ji-sung about ignoring medical advice. Spotting the telltale limp, Yeo Haridun immediately calls out Woon Ji-sung, asking if that's why he's looking so rough. Dam Ja Gang then drops the info that his older brother wanted the young master at the base for ages, but he, Dam Ja Gang, pushed for one final journey. Woon Ji-sung's face darkens with annoyance, grumbling about finally being back. Still cradling the baby, Dam Ja Gang showers Woon Ji-sung with thanks for not being selfish, grateful he could come back to his kid. Then, the young master's eyes pop open, letting out a tiny gasp. Woon Ji-sung is totally taken aback, his hand flying up in shock. Those little baby hands reach out, with an adorable, ah. Woon Ji-sung watches the kid, a curious look on his face, realizing the baby isn't shying away from him at all. His eyes narrow, a silent intensity burning within him. The vast sky above stretches out, while a small group of figures stands by, watching intently. But the young master, with an adorable little hand, reaches out, a clear sign of pure recognition. A gentle smile graces Woon Ji-sung's face, a truly heartwarming sight. Jin's gaze remains locked, his expression a total mystery. He takes in the entire scene, the vibrant landscape unfolding below. Dam Ja Gang steps forward, declaring that Woon Ji-sung has finished his mission to deliver the young master, then hits him with a puzzled, He presses, thinking Woon Ji-sung would be totally relieved, but the Dragon Lord confesses, I was, but I guess it's not as easy as I thought. The young master, saved from certain doom, declares his gratitude, not just for himself, but for everyone else rescued. It's true. The martial artists, the workers, the entire Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, all of them were pulled back from the brink. Jin takes it all in, his gaze intense. He then drops a bombshell, admitting he'll probably just keep on killing. Because that's his entire existence, the only thing that truly ignites his spirit. And then, a shocking declaration, the young master is the true older brother, superior in every way. But then, a rare, subtle smile plays on Jin's face as he accepts the title, inviting the young master to call him, Hyung. The young master hesitantly tries out the new name, as Jin's laughter rings out, a powerful sound against the open sky. Yet, even with all his power, the title of Demon King, leader of the demonic cult, still makes him incredibly uneasy. Jin, shrouded in a dark cloak and crackling red energy, contemplates the sheer pettiness of his power. He remembers how this became a habit in his past life, then a quick flashback shows him with the white dragon, just doing what he had to. His eyes blaze with a terrifying red glow, confirming that this life, his chosen path, is absolutely fine. With an intense stare, his eyes still burning, he sends a silent, chilling message to the demon forces, you'll regret this. Back in the present, he tells Yeo Haridun about a new, problematic group, then challenges him, I'm gonna be a tough young, you still want this? He turns his head, a resigned look on his face, knowing deep down there's no other way for him to go. He wonders why his past isn't the only reason he's called the demon forces, then asks himself, am I the only one who thinks this? Facing Yeo Haridun once more, he simply says he figured the kid had already made his choice. With a resolute look, he confirms, you've made up your mind about it. He listens intently as Yeo Haridun demands answers, questioning why he's being kept in the dark, but Jin's resolve is absolute, declaring he'll never spill his secrets, no matter the passage of time. Gazing upward, he clarifies that revealing the truth now, would only make him appear utterly mad to his younger brother. Yeo Haridun, a hopeful grin spreading across his face, pushes for more, yet Jin vows to spill all the beans soon, right after he eradicates the blood poison. With a piercing gaze, Jin imparts a crucial lesson, he must always know when to make his exit. Moments later, the formidable trio, Jin, Yeo Haridun, and the White Dragon, are already on the move, leaving the ancient structure behind, their epic journey unfolding beneath the vast, open heavens. Pressing onward, Jin throws a contemplative look back over his shoulder, a silent reflection in his eyes. With their cryptic exchange wrapped, the power trio strides out. A knowing smirk crosses Jin's face. Elsewhere, Yeo Haridun stares at his hand. But Jin's mind is already racing. He flashes back to the grind. Strolling under the open sky. A lone tear wells up. Just then, the White Dragon grins, looking skyward. After the White Dragon's bombshell, Jin's jaw drops, completely caught off guard. Cool as a cucumber, the white dragon turns to him, asking for a quick chat. Still processing the shocker, Jin's face is a picture of pure confusion. The scene shifts to a classic building. Now with Yeo Haridun present, the white dragon drops another bomb, asking if he should finally take on a disciple. He keeps going, pointing out how weird it is he hasn't done it sooner, especially with all his subtle hints. Jin, still trying to wrap his head around it, exclaims that it's because the white dragon has never had a disciple in the story. With a slight furrow of his brow, the white dragon asks if Jin isn't his disciple, then instantly shuts it down with a resounding "no way." Jin, finally getting a grip, admits it's a huge honor, but confesses the whole thing is just way too sudden. A relieved sigh escapes him, as Jin, still reeling from the offer, questions what he'd gain as a disciple. The white dragon, unfazed, promises to impart all his knowledge. But Jin's mind is a whirlwind, realizing a single misstep could be fatal. The white dragon, seeing his hesitation, drops a heavy warning, don't let greed blind him to this once-in-a-lifetime chance. Then, with an almost arrogant confidence, he declares Jin will become his disciple regardless, and all his wealth will inevitably be his. Jin's thoughts are a storm of contradictions, the novel's plot screaming, no disciples, only trouble, yet the burning question remains, is the white dragon's illness truly incurable? The white dragon then leans in, demanding just one promise. Just as he starts to speak, Jin cuts him off, revealing his shocking knowledge of the white dragon's terminal condition, but then drops a bombshell, a full cure isn't out of the question. His eyes blaze with an intense, unyielding determination. The tension is palpable, and suddenly, a raw intensity ignites within him, his eye burning, bloodshot with an almost terrifying fervor. The white dragon is absolutely floored, reeling back as chaotic energy erupts around him, completely blindsided by this unexpected power surge. He can't believe it, asking aloud about the sudden, terrifying bloodlust, his face a mask of shock and worry. But Jin's expression is pure menace, one eye blazing with an eerie, orange glow, a truly terrifying display of power. But then, just as fast, his face twists into distress, as if he's just realized he's gone too far, remembering the original story's limits. The white dragon's voice snaps through the air, demanding he cut it out, right now. A young man is in a bad spot, getting dragged down a wall, sparks flying. But then, a hand snatches his collar, halting his fall mid-air, and a stern voice cuts through the tension, cut it out. He glares back at the one holding him, a tense silence hanging in the air, only broken by his defiant, "Humph." But he's not backing down, yelling, this kid is totally mocking you, master. Yet, the master stays cool as a cucumber, his face unreadable, simply stating that he understands the torture. Elsewhere, Jin is deep in thought, grappling with the weight of giving false hope, imagining the scenario of telling a late-stage cancer patient about a new treatment, a potential cure. Back with the master and his crew, he's dropping some heavy wisdom about despair, how it drives people to desperation and sorrow, while everyone at the table hangs on his every word. He repeats the sentiment, then hits them with a rhetorical, but seriously, what does that even matter? Jin, ever the dedicated healer, internalizes his mission, this is simply what a doctor does. For him, life is an endless canvas of possibilities, a battle that must never be surrendered. Elsewhere, a moment of quiet contemplation as a hand delicately cradles a golden cup. The white dragon, with fierce determination, confronts the blonde man, proclaiming, I won't accept surrender, I won't let you quit, and I absolutely won't let you die. Yeo Haridun is visibly shaken by the words, his face contorted in a raw display of terror and disbelief. Then, a powerful voice cuts through the tension, declaring, there's still a path for you to survive. But Yeo Haridun, pushed to his breaking point, explodes, screaming, are you mocking me? You're absolutely crazy. With Yeo Haridun defeated at the table, the white dragon, with the blonde man at his side, moves in, cutting through the chaos with a single, commanding word, stop. He keeps his cool, dropping a bombshell about their past, I had the strongest grand affection for you, so I treated you as well. The white dragon's eyes lock on, adding fuel to the fire, I've always acted cute, and smiled around adults. Then, with a chilling finality, he declares, but right now, it's the opposite. Yeo Haridun, visibly enraged and questioning everything, fires back, so, which one of these faces is the real me? The white dragon cuts him off, a hand raised in a gesture of command, let's hear it first. He presses on, his voice cutting through the tension, however, I'm not sure that you were deceiving me, but rather that you wanted to take you in as my disciple. Is that clear? But Yeo Haridun, with a chilling resolve, delivers a final, cryptic message, it's okay. We will meet again. Above, the heavens unfold in a breathtaking expanse of azure and pearl, a truly epic vista. But down on the ground, ancient stone and lush greenery carve out a path, as a solitary silhouette moves deeper into the landscape. His dark hair and piercing golden eyes hint at a deep, unspoken thought. As Jin strides forward, each step deliberate and powerful. Meanwhile, a voice cuts through the silence, demanding an answer, so, what's the move, boss? Another, even more serious voice, presses the issue, but what if it all goes sideways? Within a lavish hall, the blonde man turns to his counterpart, revealing, he literally said he wouldn't find peace in death. The white-haired man, his face etched with grim resolve, agrees, yeah, no peaceful death for me either. With a faraway look, the blonde man concludes, good thing I'm battling this sickness until my very last breath. The white-haired man remembers a chilling prophecy, he won't die peacefully. His eyes narrow, as he declares they were tricked by false promises, but their only option now is to fight for survival. With a sharp glance at the blonde man, his thoughts drift to the white dragon, a silent challenge, so, you really couldn't find peace in death. A flashback hits, a determined Yeo Haraidun, his voice ringing out, insisting on a single, crucial question. The challenge hangs in the air, aimed squarely at the white dragon, are you ready to fight? Back in the present, the white-haired man reflects, a broken blade is just an easy target. He questions the path to victory for a martial artist cut off from their roots, trapped by the relentless dragon's veins that deny them peace. The harsh reality unfolds, Dam Ja Gang's opponents were relentlessly pushed to their demise, a cycle of death and rebirth, always the same outcome. His face etched with anguish, the white-haired man utters, a single, heavy word, so then, leaving the weight of his thoughts hanging. He's still wrestling with it, deep in thought, wondering about his own moves. Facing his friend, the white-haired man can't believe how easily the blonde man saw right through his inner turmoil. A wave of pure relief hits him, leaving him feeling strangely hollow. Seeing his friend's intense reaction, the blonde man can't help but ask, dude, when did you get so invested in him? A beat of silence, then the white-haired man confesses a fresh wave of empathy, realizing exactly why he reached out to this guy in the first place. His friend just nods, feeling it too, and vows to protect his disciple no matter what. He's sure his disciple will learn tons from the white-haired man, then jokes that maybe he should have been the one to sign up as a disciple. The white-haired man just stares back, waiting for the real answer. With a confident look, the blonde man declares, absolutely. There's hope in that treatment. The white-haired man, deep in thought, admits the treatment's theory is mind-blowing, a breakthrough they practically abandoned hope of ever discovering. Sure, it's gonna be a long haul to pull off, but in theory, it's totally doable. But the blonde man looks totally stressed, grumbling, okay, great, but he's still gonna be around for ages. His anger flares, and he flat-out states, I seriously can't stand that kid. Cool as a cucumber, the white-haired man fires back, challenging the sentiment, harm his master peacefully. Seriously? What kind of jerk even thinks that? Still fuming, the blonde man snaps back, well, at least your disciple would be thoughtful enough to do it nicely. His rage practically radiating, he adds, if he was truly heartless enough to mean even half of that, I'd absolutely despise him. The world itself seemed to hum with an almost ethereal glow, a moment of calm before the storm. Then, by a serene pond, reflecting the vibrant greens, the white-haired man faced off against Yeo Haraidun, an unspoken challenge in the air. Yeo Haraidun, clearly fed up, shot back, reminding him of the promise not to go easy, and the white-haired man just coolly agreed. He then laid it out, becoming his disciple wasn't just about hitting the books, it was about something far beyond the ordinary, a whole new level of training. He made it crystal clear, his idea of studying wasn't some boring lecture, it was something intense, something that would push boundaries. His eyes, calm as a still lake, still burned with an unspoken power, a silent warning of what was to come. Then, with a barely there flick, a ghostly green energy ignited around his hand, humming with raw power. He lunged, his hand clamping down on Yeo Haraidun's shoulder, who visibly recoiled from the unexpected, powerful touch. Then, a blinding blue energy erupted from his hand, sparking with raw power, channeling directly into Yeo Haraidun. He's caught completely off guard, his eyes snapping wide in disbelief. Then, a raw surge of electric blue energy erupts around him, his shock turning to pure astonishment. The ethereal power consumes him, pulling him into a vortex of swirling light. A single, focused finger of energy blasts straight into his shoulder, a silent, devastating impact. His entire body twists and strains as the intense blue aura courses through him, pushing him to his limits. His eyes are practically bulging, a silent, primal scream of pure sensation tearing through him. The point of entry on his shoulder becomes a swirling maelstrom of power, humming with raw, untamed force. The blonde man, witnessing the spectacle, can only marvel at the technique's brutal efficiency, comparing its impact to a high-caliber bullet. The white-haired man, ever the master, calmly reveals the secret, absolute mana control, precisely channeled into the body's own meridians. As the raw power coursed through his very being, his eye blazed with an electric blue, crackling with untamed green energy. The ethereal currents exploded, a maelstrom of blue and green light erupting around him. The energy continued its furious dance, a dynamic manifestation of raw power surging through his very core. Watching the kneeling youth's reaction, the white-haired man coolly revealed, it blasted right through the hole in his meridian, piercing the tree of life itself. With a knowing smirk, he casually remarked, doing more than that? Yeah, that's basically impossible. With a subtle blue pulse from his hand, he revealed the truth, the kid couldn't even use mana yet. He'd just conjured a tiny, minuscule amount with a single finger. The blonde man's mind raced, realizing this wasn't just some dojo training, this was the path to becoming the heir of the legendary Cloud Dragon clan. Gazing up at his master with burning resolve, the young man declared, yes, Sir. With a powerful green glow emanating from his hand, now amidst flourishing plants, he swore, I'll do my best. The white-haired man and Yeo Haridun face each other, a tense silence hanging in the air. The energy crackles, a prelude to what's next. The white-haired man drops a bombshell, a final, game-changing condition for the young disciple. Yeo Haridun's mind is reeling, what could this final challenge possibly be? His eye flares with a vibrant green, mana surging through his core, the challenge igniting a fierce resolve within him. The white-haired man observes, a silent judge, waiting for the young warrior's decision. Yeo Haridun locks eyes with his master, his determination burning bright. His hand crackles with raw mana, as he unleashes a powerful declaration. With his eyes blazing with power, Yeo Haridun roars his commitment, and the white-haired man gives his approval, the training intensifying. With a fierce resolve, Yeo Haridun proclaims, this is all I need. But the white-haired man isn't done yet, demanding he bow 9 times. Jin's on the move. He tells White Dragon he's got urgent business at the base. The crew's all there, and he just casually drops, anyways. White Dragon's stoked, seeing Jin back on his feet, totally relieved. Jin lets out a chuckle, promising he'll be good as new in no time, shouting out props to the whole team. Yeo Haridun's checking out the new crew, wondering who all these fresh faces are. White Dragon then turns to the others, handing Jin over to their watch, and telling them to keep the peace. The blonde man, speaking for the squad, confirms the order, letting the doctor know they've got it covered. Yeo Haridun flashes a confident grin, already seeing the incredible future of Jin. He's convinced that even as a young prodigy, Jin's future is secure with their protection, destined to become the legendary White Dragon godly doctor. Fueled by this belief, Yeo Haridun vows that no one will ever disrespect Jin, who is backed by the strongest clans, declaring this his ultimate opportunity, a chance he absolutely cannot squander. White Dragon stares down, a crucial question hanging in the air, his expression hinting at a pivotal decision. His eyes lock onto a small, ornate wooden box, a treasure chest of secrets, gleaming with golden designs. White Dragon offers the mysterious box to Yeo Haridun, whose eyes practically pop out, utterly stunned. White Dragon grins, urging him to take it, but Yeo Haridun is reeling, questioning if he's worthy of such a priceless gift. After a beat of intense thought, Yeo Haridun's face sets with fierce determination, and he boldly accepts the challenge. He stares intently at the ornate wooden box, a deep contemplation etched across his features. White Dragon, presenting the mysterious box, issues a direct command, make sure to eat it, and make sure to serve it to your master too. Yeo Haridun eagerly accepts the gift, his voice filled with genuine appreciation, wow. Hua. Thank you, sir. A hint of playful curiosity in his tone, he presses further, you could at least give me a hint about what's inside. A booming laugh reverberates as White Dragon begins his swift ascent. His voice carrying down to the young man below, take care, kid savior. Heh heh. I'll see you again, someday. With Jin and the others observing, Yeo Haridun bows profoundly, reiterating his gratitude for the mysterious gift and vowing to protect it. He then pleads, and please, tell me what it is before you eat it. Soaring higher, White Dragon casts a final, enigmatic glance back, a soft chuckle escaping him as he affirms, of course. Yeo Haridun remains fixated on the enigmatic box, its secrets weighing on his mind, as Jin watches, his own thoughts echoing the question, what could be inside that box? Dan Jagang, ever the respectful one, gives a deep bow, thanking the White Dragon godly doctor for his incredible kindness. Flashing a cool smile, the White Dragon waves goodbye to everyone, his crew, Jin, the blonde man, and the white-haired man, all set to roll out. The carriage is waiting, and a whole crowd is there to wave them off from the epic traditional building. And just like that, silence falls, with only the building's roof reaching up to the vast, clear sky. From an upstairs window, the White Dragon gives one last, epic wave, then he's gone. Meanwhile, back on solid ground, Dan Jagang and a woman are totally scratching their heads over the White Dragon's cryptic, baby phoenix, talk. And Yeo Haridun. He's still clutching that fancy box, his brain working overtime trying to figure out what bizarre food could be inside. The sounds of their departure just vanish into the distance, leaving the whole village in a super quiet, thoughtful mood. Just the huge, empty sky is left, totally echoing all those unanswered questions. Massive cliffs pierce the heavens. A deep, powerful hum reverberating through the very rock. Fast forward a few months. And we find the White Dragon godly doctor's headquarters, strategically placed in a rugged, Volcanic zone right by the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Group base, the ground itself rumbling with power. Up endless stairs. Later, he's in a steaming tub, pushing his limits, still feeling like he hasn't quite nailed the techniques. His mind flashes back to the intense directive, you will be trained in a volcanic region. Take all 3. The mission clear, walk as trained, in the Cloud Dragon base. Gritting his teeth, Yeo Haraidun is pushing past his limits, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated focus. Word on the street is the Jagal clan, with their insane inner chi mastery, is practically unstoppable. But the White Dragon Godly Doctor drops a truth bomb on him, they're actually weak on the outside, all because their inner chi made them too lazy to get strong. So, he declares, Yeo Haraidun's training is about to get a whole new level of intense. Then, bam. An invisible force absolutely rocks him, sending a shockwave of pure energy as a super tough bowl explodes into pieces. The force just keeps on coming. Yeo Haraidun is left flat on his back, while the White Dragon Godly Doctor coolly drops some wisdom. You're trying to feel the energy with your brain, but you gotta feel it with your whole body. Stunned, he looks up and asks, Master, what in the world are you talking about? His master just repeats, you're gonna learn to feel that energy with your body, got it? Yeo Haraidun's jaw hits the floor, his eyes wide as he screams, WHAT. The White Dragon Godly Doctor, seeing his disciple's shock, coolly declares he's overreacting. He warns that if this keeps up, he'll just end up a total idiot. Fast forward a few months, and we're at a massive, ancient complex, hidden deep in the mountains. Yeo Haraidun stares up, totally blown away, shouting, while the doctor casually drops that this huge place is actually his hospital and clinic. Inside, the doctor lays it out, thanks to their clever rumors, this place is about to become famous as the White Dragon Godly Doctor's clinic. Yeo Haraidun's jaw drops, remembering that the stories said the White Dragon Godly Doctor picked this spot specifically for his own recovery. This has to be where he'll finally master his 9 cloud absolute pulses, a huge place that's somehow always packed with patients. The doctor confesses he's never had disciples before, but quickly adds that he's still a super famous doctor, just so we're clear. With a decisive gesture, he tells Yeo Haraidun that it's time to head in and get their stuff unpacked. Stepping inside, the clinic's interior is absolutely lavish. A total flex compared to the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service's rough and tumble origins. Yeo Haraidun can't help but notice how fresh everything looks. But inside, the doctor is already on top of things, spotting a flock of messenger birds, and wondering if his team has everything under control. Yeo Haraidun is absolutely floored by the sheer number of messages, letting out an awestruck wow. These birds are flying at warp speed, their wings practically smoking from the effort. He casually mentions it's just easier to handle the chaos when he's around, then drops the bombshell that these messages are from the Blue Dragon clan and their delivery service, hinting at something strange brewing. Elsewhere in the clinic, a blonde aide briefs his superior, pointing out the ongoing beef between the Blue Dragon clan and the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service, while Yeo Haraidun looks totally lost. He then reveals the kicker, both clans are now demanding the master's direct examination, and he needs a green light. The white-haired man, clearly thinking this is a wild request, insists on checking out the medical records of those doctors first. He's checking out a document, and boom, the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service wants a direct examination from the master. And get this, they're actually a subordinate of the Blue Dragon clan. With his crew around him, he's now looking at the Blue Dragon clan's request too. Both big shot groups want the master's direct attention, no big deal, right? Yeo Haraidun is totally blown away, document in hand, amazed at how someone could analyze martial arts and diagnose so fast. The white-haired man drops a bombshell, the doctors from both the Blue Dragon clan and the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service aren't just medical pros, they're martial arts masters too. This whole situation just got way more complicated. He holds out a document, then asks the million-dollar question, who gets priority? He's reacting to the drama, realizing the Cloud Dragon Secure Delivery Service's doctor is none other than Dam Ja Gang, a famous doctor who's apparently stirring up some serious trouble. Yeo Haraidun's eyes practically pop out at this shocking news. The white-haired man just scoffs at the drama, then tells Yeo Haraidun, alright, let's go, you and me, we're heading in. Yeo Haraidun looks at the white-haired man, totally ready to jump into action. The white-haired man takes a moment, captivated by the sheer elegance of birds soaring, finding it absolutely fascinating. Then, shifting focus to the real mission, he ponders how this whole examination process would be nothing more than a quick online consultation in today's world. Taking in the full scope of the situation, he realizes it's all perfectly logical, especially since the White Dragon Godly Doctor is a legendary figure, one of the 10 heavenly doctors from the novel. Humans are always gonna get sick and die, especially martial artists who stare death in the face every single day, meaning doctors' clinics are absolutely essential, and that's exactly why collecting all that medical intel is super crucial. The white-haired man takes the lead, showing his young friend the way through the ancient estate. The white-haired man tells him to come in, pointing to a room, and as Yeo Haridun walks through the door, his eyes flash with a weird glow, commenting on how cold and totally normal the place feels. The older guy sits down and tells him to chill out, but Yeo Haridun is still checking everything out, asking about this heater in the middle of the room, like he's seen in some old Chinese movies. He keeps looking around the room, checking out all the old-school furniture. Settling into the room, the white-haired man immediately drops some serious knowledge, kicking off his explanation with the medical court, a central hub for all things clinics and doctors. He laid it out clearly: martial arts techniques are super exclusive, and guess what? Medical procedures are the same. He couldn't just spill all the secrets. And that's exactly why, the medical court, this elite organization of doctors, was formed, to keep all that crucial knowledge locked down. With a sweeping gesture, he declared, "This right here. This is the medical court." He wasn't done, adding that it wasn't just some random organization, it was a full-blown clan of doctors, united by their secrets and mission. Yeo Haridun took it all in, a quiet, "I see," escaping him, as the white-haired man kept going, revealing the medical court's true mission, stopping conflicts and keeping the peace with their special powers. His face was a mask of contemplation, clearly processing the heavy implications of everything he'd just heard. "Alright, I think I've covered everything," the white-haired man finished, driving home the point about the medical court's absolute critical role in keeping the peace. The white-haired man drops more knowledge bombs, revealing how the medical court isn't just about ancient texts, but cutting-edge practical applications, even in building design. They've got specialized research facilities for this stuff. He breaks down the science, revealing that to clear out stale air and prevent poisoning, windows aren't just for show, they're strategically placed and opened, a total game-changer for health. And get this, these windows have to stay open even underwater. It's next-level planning, and he talks about the practitioners who inherit family businesses, keeping these ancient secrets alive. He keeps going, explaining that glass windows are key for light and heat, but admits that building them on such a massive scale is incredibly tough, a challenge for the ages. Yeo Haridun's mind is blown, his face showing he's finally getting the insane complexity of their operations, a quiet, "I get it," escaping him. The white-haired man confirms his realization, hammering home the main point: it's all about relentless management and staying ahead with prevention. Yeo Haridun's brain is still buffering, but a huge realization hits him, and he starts to ask a question, his voice full of dawning insight. His eyes practically pop out, as the sheer genius and foresight of the medical court finally clicks, leaving him utterly stunned. The white-haired man just confirms his mind-blowing thought, and Yeo Haridun, totally getting it now, can only gush about their insane level of strategic thinking, it's pure genius. The white-haired man drops another knowledge bomb, revealing the medical court's environmental control goes way deeper than anyone imagined. This new revelation makes Yeo Haridun gasp, "Oh. He's totally hooked." He breaks it down. The 9-cloud absolute pulses basically means your body's heat gets replaced by cold, and understanding this is key to their whole medical game. The white-haired man challenges him, and Jin's mind races, already formulating his response. He drops a truth bomb: a doctor's environment is everything, more sensitive than any other profession. It's all about the details, because secondary infections are the ultimate disease spreaders. The white-haired man totally gets it, especially with ancient medicine, where the rules are completely different from modern practice. But then, he drops another bombshell: the room is freezing, and a basic heater just won't cut it. But Jin's already 3 steps ahead, realizing that cranking up the heat could unleash a silent killer, carbon monoxide, like methane. His mind is already calculating the next move. The white-haired man is stunned by the mention of carbon monoxide, a deadly gas we unknowingly inhale as part of our oxygen. Burning in a closed environment creates deadly carbon monoxide, not life-giving oxygen. And when that silent killer is ingested, the white-haired man's eyes widen in dawning horror, grasping the terrifying concept of drowning in the very air around them. A shockwave of understanding hits him, the gravity of Jin's warning sinking in. He stares at the young doctor, a profound respect blooming in his gaze, marveling at the sheer genius to grasp such advanced concepts without any prior knowledge. But the awe quickly morphs into burning curiosity, as he demands to know where Jin possibly learned such groundbreaking information. Jin, deflecting his gaze, cryptically reveals he was simply taught to absorb knowledge from any source imaginable. But the white-haired man's skepticism flares, confessing he's never heard of these revolutionary ideas in all his vast experience. With a knowing smirk, Jin simply declares his knowledge a closely guarded secret. The older man, a playful glint in his eye, then playfully challenges him, asking if this is a secret so profound it must be hidden even from his own master. The white-haired man's gaze intensifies, and Jin, unfazed, declares, "Yeah, this is top-secret stuff. Not even my master knows, and I'm not spilling." A moment of internal conflict, then a firm resolve: no way I can lie about this. Jin's thoughts drift to his master, the legendary white dragon godly doctor, realizing he's not just some guy, but a total genius, an enlightened master. Then his thoughts shift to the white-haired man, the Cloud Dragon clan head, and Jean knows, this guy has a temper that can get seriously brutal if you push him too far. The white-haired man, seeing right through Jean, declares, "Kid, you're definitely not ordinary." A knowing smirk spreads across his face as he adds, "So, yeah, I've decided to accept you completely, with my whole being." The glowing cup seems to hum with Jin's silent gratitude, "Alright, thanks for keeping it real with your master." Later, outside a grand building, the white-haired man holds the cup, a silent pact forged between him and Jean. Inside a stunning traditional Korean estate, the calm before the storm is palpable. A brilliant idea sparks in his mind, and he can't help but grin, realizing the genius of using coal as a makeshift pencil. Brushes? Forget about it. Too much hassle, he thinks, especially with Yu Ho, the medical court's administrator, right there. The white-haired man gives him the green light, telling him Yu Ho's got his back for anything, and Jean, with a glint in his eye, announces it's showtime. He dives into his work, sketching out the intricate details of a Korean-style heated stone floor. A knowing smirk plays on his face, who knew all those binge-watched documentaries and webtoons would actually pay off. With precision, he lays out the secrets and history of the legendary Ondal system. His determination burns bright as he makes a silent promise, he'll build the ultimate heated stone floor. Yeo Haraidun pores over a document, his mind racing as he grapples with the sheer impossibility of what he's reading, questioning if this incredible breakthrough is even real. Back in his room, General Yu Ho is laid up in bed. Yeo Haraidun confidently affirms the document's truth, revealing it's the only way to keep the child from getting sick. Yes, he declares. He elaborates, admitting his initial doubts about the whole concept, especially since it concerns a prepubescent child, whose body is like a fresh slate, full of untapped potential but also incredibly fragile. I thought his idea would be of no use, but it's a child that hasn't even reached puberty yet, but... The child's room has massive, glass-sized windows, practically trapping them inside when they're ill, and the windows are the size of the glass. General Yu Ho cuts in, stressing that even with all these measures, keeping the child's mind and body healthy is absolutely vital. It's still important for both the mind and body to be healthy. He presses on, arguing that the child's recovery odds skyrocket with outdoor exposure, because mental well-being is massively improved by experiencing the world. The chances are higher if the child is exposed to the outside world. Yeo Haraidun quickly promises to prevent any issues, and the white-haired man chimes in, confirming their actions will massively boost his healing. We'll try to make sure that doesn't happen. And get this, because the master is an inner force expert, he's literally making his own medicine. Cut to a sun-drenched courtyard where General Yu Ho and Yeo Haraidun are absolutely stunned by what they're seeing. Yeo Haraidun can't even believe his eyes, shouting about how fast this recovery is going down. Then, General Yu Ho spots someone new, and it's the white-haired man, making his entrance. Cool as a cucumber, the white-haired man just drops a casual, "Oh, really?" An insane aura pulses from the glowing core, its raw heat practically burning as Jin's gaze locks onto the sheer power. Elsewhere, the white-haired man takes in the surroundings, thinking about the game-changing upgrades, because with these DMS windows modified, pulling them up is now ridiculously easy. He spins around to Jean, a quick nod of recognition, then a casual wave to come on in. Jean settles in, and the white-haired man just gushes, loving how comfy it is to use the furniture with the windows shut, even teasing Jean for not joining him sooner. Then, a quick check-in on Jin's health, who confesses he was hacking and his throat was killing him, but now, totally fine. A soft chuckle escapes the white-haired man as he beams at Jin's genius, declaring his invention absolutely mind-blowing now that he's experienced it firsthand, then gestures for him to pull up a seat. He just can't get over Jin's incredible brain and adorable personality, wondering aloud why it took so long for someone to invent glass windows. A flashback hits him, showing a younger version of himself and Yeo Haraidun as patients, and the white-haired man can't help but wonder, how did General Yu Ho whip up that legendary medicine in just one day? He's absolutely blown away by the DMS windows, calling them super impressive and incredibly convenient. And get this, because of them, his health has shot up, making him feel way better. But then, a burning question hits him, how did General Yu Ho whip up such a powerful medicine so fast? Suddenly, a flashback hits. A younger him and Yeo Haraidun are recovering, and he's just blown away, exclaiming, this medicine, it's absolutely insane. He's totally shocked by how fast he's bouncing back. The flashback keeps rolling, showing General Yu Ho just walking off, after pulling off some seriously wild methods. These were the crazy techniques he used to cure the master's sickness and fix up the 9 clouded appellate elders. A wave of gratitude washes over him, as he realizes he owes General Yu Ho big time. He's ready to put everything on the line, even his very existence. The flashback continues, showing him walking with the white-haired man outside a grand, traditional structure. A determined look crosses his features as he glances to the side. Inside, the white-haired man is seen recuperating in bed. General Yu Ho checks on his chi veins, the crucial pathways for life energy, and gets a reassuring response that everything is fine. The white-haired man confesses his current efforts are mostly limited to healing and household tasks, yet he's been secretly honing his skills. He then reveals that their connection transcended a mere master-disciple dynamic, feeling more like brothers, actually. Which makes the current internal strife even more infuriating. General Yu-ho drops a bombshell, revealing he knows all about the letters set to shake things up next week. The white-haired man confirms the chaos, predicting a massive uproar in Jiangong from Cheon-hee's dispatches. With a frustrated sigh, he confesses that General Yu-ho has been a total pain recently. General Yu-ho brushes off the drama, telling him to chill out and get some sleep. Still lounging, the white-haired man fires back, teasing if General Yu-ho's just jealous of some kid, then hilariously backpedals. A quiet woo escapes him as he finally gives in, eyes closing as he drifts into slumber. Later, he bolts upright in bed, feeling absolutely fantastic, not a single ache in his body. Elsewhere, General Yu-ho strides through ancient halls, relieved that the white-haired man's chi is finally stable, meaning he can actually get some decent sleep for once. But even with that relief, he doesn't let his guard down, issuing a stern command for everyone to stay hypervigilant tonight. The clan's founder, Master Song Myong, had laid down the law. All their secret techniques, compiled and perfected, were to be passed down only to the one truly worthy. But now, the white-haired man drops a bombshell on Jean, declaring, under normal circumstances, I'd never adopt you as my foster son, much less name you my successor. He presses on, revealing that it's a monumental task to defy the destiny laid out for Jin's parents, and becoming Jaegal Cheon-hee's foster son might just be the key. Then, with a knowing look, the white-haired man states, I'm practically at death's door. Don't hold back. If you're truly obsessed with your own path, I'll be the one to make you my heir. And then, the ultimate offer, but here's the kicker, in the future, you can take on the name Jaegal if you choose. Jin's mind races, connecting the dots, in the future probably means when he gets married. But then, a darker thought crosses his mind, it could also mean when the white-haired man is no longer alive. Jean stands there, speechless, as the gravity of the offer sinks in. This is a huge deal. The white-haired man's words hit him like a ton of bricks, the sheer gravity of the proposal absolutely crushing his spirit. He moved, but his mind was still reeling. Desperately trying to grasp the implications of everything he'd just heard. Then, his eyes snapped open in pure shock, as something totally unexpected appeared. And there it was. A colossal wooden dummy, right in front of him and the white-haired man, with Yeo Haraidun and General Yu-ho also staring in awe. Yeo Haraidun, completely baffled, blurted out, Master. What in the world is that thing? The white-haired man just smirked, clearly enjoying their confusion. It's just a wooden dummy, he casually announced, that we'll be using for our training sessions. Jin's jaw practically hit the floor, one thought screaming in his head, a wooden dummy? He strides forward alongside the white-haired man, General Yu-ho, and Yeo Haraidun, closing in on the two wooden training dummies standing ready in the clearing. The ancient clan sages, after years of intense mental training in the mountains, unlocked incredible new abilities, supercharging their memory and cognitive speed. This brain activation wasn't just mental, it awakened their physical forms, letting them fight with unbelievable power. A hand tightens, and a voice cuts through the tension, just focus on what you can do. Then, with an explosive burst of resolve, Jean unleashes a massive blue energy wave, his arms shooting out to intercept an invisible danger. The azure power explodes outward, forming an impenetrable shield of pure energy. The energy surges, deflecting whatever projectile was hurtling their way. And a spent bullet casing clatters to the ground, proof of the lightning-fast defense. A shocked voice gasps in disbelief, what was that? Did he just block a bullet? A pinpoint blue energy blast just absolutely nails an abdominal pressure point. Jin's eyes practically pop out of his head, totally blown away as that blue energy just pulses around him. He's just staring at this mannequin, mind absolutely blown by how insane this technique is. Hitting an invisible target's abdominal pressure point with that kind of accuracy. That's a finger bullet move, pure concentrated energy. White Dragon drops some serious knowledge, explaining he didn't force the energy, but just rode the world's current. Jin's like, wait, you can actually adjust that? He just can't believe that kind of precise control is even possible. Jin's absolutely captivated, his brain already buzzing with all the possibilities this insane technique opens up. White Dragon then drops a rhetorical bomb, asking why he didn't just blast through the barrier earlier, and why it was so flimsy. He goes on, revealing that the sages on the hidden continent only ever theorized about this stuff, and Jean agrees, those sages really pushed the limits by actually using their brains. Standing before a wooden training dummy, the young martial artist listens intently as his master drops a bombshell. This finger bullet technique was the absolute root of all martial arts. He questions why no one had learned it before, but the White Dragon hypes him up, promising he'll learn techniques far beyond anyone in the clan's history. Holding up a small bullet and asking if this tiny projectile is the ultimate secret. The White Dragon just laughs, brushing it off as nothing, just a tool. Gazing at a sword, the young man hears his master drop another truth bomb. The finger bullet and sword techniques are just two sides of the same coin, different ways to wield the same core power. Even a fan, in the hands of a master, could be the same weapon. The white dragon clarifies, it's all the same. If you can't use a sword to swing a fan, you're missing the point, a truth the ancient sages figured out. With eyes wide in disbelief, the young man's mind races. Could he really master weapons he'd never even touched before? The white dragon confirms the sages only grasped it in theory. But he's about to make that theory a mind-blowing reality for his student. Yeo Haridun's mind is blown wide open, his eyes practically popping out as the white dragon's wisdom hits him like a truck. The sheer, mind-bending power of the technique, a storm of glowing projectiles, just hangs there, proving the unified principle is no joke. And he's left wondering if he could actually pull it off, becoming the strongest in the entire world. Looking straight at the kid, the white dragon cuts right to the chase, asking if he really wants to conquer all martial arts and become the undisputed strongest. A soft "ah" slips out of him as he digs deep, realizing that if he could just become the strongest, he'd finally get his payback on that little demon who messed with him. With eyes burning, the white dragon lays down the law, to be the strongest, you gotta prove it, no questions asked. A sprawling, futuristic city flashes by, maybe showing the world he's about to dominate. While the white dragon clutches an ancient book, dropping hints about the old sages who only dreamed of this power. Then, with a blazing, powerful aura, he drops the ultimate challenge on Yeo Haridun, become the strongest in the entire world. A new legend awakens, his eyes blazing with an unyielding resolve, ready to conquer anything in his path. His inner voice echoes, if this challenge is for him, he's taking it head on. Every fiber of his being screams power, a force ready to be unleashed. He knows it deep down, he's destined to come out on top. Elsewhere, high above the clouds, Char white-haired man is chilling with a blue-robed companion, who's totally trashing someone, saying, seriously, what a loser. He's the absolute worst. The white-haired man just shrugs, maybe. Then, looking at a kid, the white-haired man sighs, so, this is the guy who's supposed to be the strongest ever, huh? But he messes up literally everything. Even with all the shade, a flicker of grudging admiration crosses his face as he admits, but I guess you'll still have to give him some props and respect. He burns with an intense desire to become the strongest in the world, just like his master, understanding that true power unlocks unparalleled authority. A soft glow emanates from the ground as General Yu-ho turns to the young man, asking what he truly desires to become, only for the youth to respond that he doesn't need to be the strongest in the world. Suddenly, the white-haired man appears, echoing the young man's earlier thought, I want to be the strongest in the world, like you, master. A playful smile spreads across his face as he adds, my goodness, you cutie. How can you be so cute? The young man lets out a nervous chuckle as the white-haired man continues, declaring, but you're the one who's destined to be the strongest in the world. You're the only one who can surpass me. The declaration leaves the young man utterly stunned. As the white-haired man simply smiles, his words hanging heavy in the air. Yeo Haridun is absolutely fired up, a fierce glint in his eyes as he declares his destiny, claiming the right to be the strongest. Elsewhere, the white-haired man drops a bombshell on General Yu-ho, wondering how their little demon king could lead demon forces but never act like a doctor. His gaze sharpens, a sudden realization hitting him, as he ponders the sheer power if they're talking about the world's greatest doctor. Back to Yeo Haridun, his ambition is practically exploding, his heart absolutely racing just thinking about it. A deep, powerful truth hits him, he just has to do what he can, because there's no other way to live. His determination hardens, he's absolutely going to cure his master, no doubt about it. The white-haired man, deep in contemplation, feels something totally new, his first ever feeling of warmth. He continues, his words resonating with profound truth, talking about pure intentions and absolutely no hidden agenda. A wave of astonishment washes over him, who could have possibly imagined this day would arrive? The white-haired man, deep in contemplation, stares into the heavens, the sky ablaze with color, mirroring the intensity of his thoughts. He knows his purpose, his ultimate calling, a sacred duty he bears as a human, as Jin Cheon He. A blinding, ethereal light engulfs everything, a dramatic shift in the very fabric of reality. Under the breathtaking canvas of a fiery sunset, he declares that the absolute first step, the crucial beginning, is to truly feel it. Moments later, in a hushed, ancient hall, he lays down the law to Yeo Haridun, you can be here, but not a sound, not a twitch. Do you get it? With a reassuring hand on the young man's head, Yeo Haridun, with unwavering resolve, simply replies, yes. They sit together, a powerful, unspoken bond forming, the air thick with anticipation and shared purpose. His eyes now shut, the white-haired man plunges into the depths of his own mind, preparing for what's next. His hand reaches out, a silent command as it touches the young man's arm. And then, a soft, ethereal glow explodes from him. His long white hair practically vibrating with the raw, surging energy. The young man, completely caught off guard, looks down. His eyes snapping wide in pure shock as the light around him goes absolutely wild. The radiant energy just keeps building, engulfing the white-haired man in an incredible, blinding aura. An intense, swirling green energy absolutely engulfs Jin, its raw power surging around him. The ethereal glow just explodes, pulling him even deeper into its incredible power. His eyes wide open, now blazing with that same green energy, he steels himself, thinking, he'll just do what he can. Then, a shocking realization hits him like a truck: this is his master's energy. Suddenly, the white dragon's voice cuts through the chaos, booming, "Focus on my energy." Jin shuts his eyes again, the green current still raging around him. This complex dance, where chi surges through veins and loops around the entire body, is what they call grand circulation. Completely consumed by the raw, glowing green energy, Jin pushes through his training, his eyes still burning with that incredible mystical power. The green energy explodes around Jin, and he instantly recognizes it as the legendary inner force, feeling its raw power surge through his very being. He's feeling the incredible healing and support, all thanks to those bone restructuring pills, while the white dragon watches, impressed. The white dragon's eyes are practically burning with focus, witnessing the epic transformation unfolding before him. Then, the white dragon challenges Jin, asking if he can truly feel it, that mysterious energy core, the very heart of his power. Jin's face shows pure concentration as he grapples with the question, a powerful thrumming echoing from deep within his chest. The white dragon drops a bombshell, revealing this core is the inner force itself, the legendary power once sealed within the thousand-year pine balls. He confirms the bone restructuring was a total success, flushing out every impurity and making Jin's body a perfect vessel. Now, the white dragon will personally guide this awakened inner force, sending it coursing through every inch of Jin's being. This incredible process will naturally form a sticky gel, settling deep in his danjian, and because he's already a master of grand circulation, Jin's original composition will be reborn within him, ready to kick off the grand circulation once more. The white dragon lays out the next phase, holding back the full power of the thousand-year pine ball for a strategic moment, waiting for Jin to hit the next level. Jin, practically vibrating with raw, green energy, gets it: you don't just chug power, you master it, understanding it's not smart to simply consume everything at once. A deep, resonant sigh of pure energy escapes him as the initial surge stabilizes. The white dragon's gaze is piercing. His hand firmly on Jin's head, channeling and directing the immense power now coursing through him. Then, with a commanding voice, he tells Jin to open his eyes, declaring it's time to dive into the foundational training techniques, the very essence of the five elements. He reveals the core of their reality: fire, water, wood, gold, and earth, the elemental forces that forge their entire world. He's locked in, absorbing every word as the white dragon drops the bombshell, initial training complete. Leaving Jin to mentally download the sheer magnitude of the knowledge just dropped on him. The master then dives deep into the elemental flow, breaking down the core cycle: water fuels wood, wood ignites fire, fire forges earth, earth births gold, and gold purifies water. Jin's brain is on fire, echoing the final mantra, water clear, as he instantly grasps the complex web of energy. Then, bam! A blazing, fiery aura explodes around him, and he can't help but shout, "Wow! I can feel it." Bathed in the intense red light, he's blown away, realizing that just by doing what his master said, the power is surging through him, and it's actually fun. The white dragon keeps dropping knowledge, stressing that this elemental order is the absolute bedrock of their power, and the secret sauce for why the Jaegal clan's 5 elemental training is a perfect fit for healing is that it seamlessly blends with any other inner power, never clashing or getting messy, but instead forging ultimate harmony inside the body. The white dragon drops some serious knowledge, revealing that the 5 elements are the ultimate cheat code for healing and energy restoration. But then he drops a bombshell: what if an element clashes with its polar opposite? Like water and fire? That's not just bad news, that's absolute chaos. He keeps going, explaining how gold slices wood, then returns to earth, a brutal cycle of destruction. Jin wonders if that's a bad thing, but the white dragon counters, saying sometimes that intense, chaotic clash is exactly what you need. This absolute chaos isn't just about destruction, it's a game changer, a catalyst for massive shifts. He clarifies, it's like medicine and poison all rolled into one, depending on how you use it. Even in today's medicine, every drug has side effects. He brings up sildenafil, aka Viagra, as a prime example. This medicine was initially for heart disease, but during final tests, it totally pivoted and became the go-to for male erectile dysfunction. And it's not just that one. There are tons of examples where a diabetes treatment ends up being used for obesity, showing how versatile these things can be. He's locked in, absorbing every word as the white dragon drops some serious knowledge. Some things are just off limits, especially for the VIP patients, and it's not about good or evil, it's all about how you play the game. And this isn't just some random philosophy, the white dragon stresses, it's the absolute truth for the 5 elements too. Watching his student's intense gaze, the white dragon can literally feel the energy around him picking up speed. He's totally getting it. He breaks it down. The 5 elements are just raw power, neither good nor bad, it's all about how you use them, and now that Jin's got an idea brewing, he better spill it. Jin's mind races, trying to grasp the full weight of this lesson. What could possibly trump the very essence of the elements? Switching scenes, someone's just dropped off the goods, the medicinal balls are here. General Yu-ho gives the nod, and Yeo Haridun confirms they've got the full set, the 5 elemental medicinal balls, each one packed with a different elemental essence, and they're all accounted for. Yeo Haridun checks out these elemental medicinal balls, but something's off, they have no scent. That's super weird for medicine. General Yu-ho offers them up, asking if he's gonna grab one, and Yeo Haridun is still hung up on the fact that they're totally odorless, which is kinda refreshing, actually. The general just tells him to pick one, simple as that. He's really thinking hard, his face showing the intense mental gears turning. He's looking at all these golden balls, thinking, is this some kind of pop quiz? Are they testing if I actually get which one to pick? Normally, you just grab a ball that matches your own element, or maybe one you're weak against to balance things out. Then, bam. An idea hits him like a lightning bolt, a way to really power up his element. Hold up, though. He stops himself, thinking, if he just goes with the obvious choice, what was the point of learning all about the 5 elements? He'd totally miss out on using that wood elemental fire trick. Suddenly, it's crystal clear. Yeo Haridun makes his move, he's grabbing the fire elemental ball, and he's gonna use wood energy to supercharge that fire. He's got the fire elemental ball, its intense crimson glow practically screaming power, while the general watches his every move. But wait, his mind is already racing, 2 golden orbs appearing in his hand, leaving everyone wondering what his next move will be. He's tapping into something deeper, sensing a soothing scent and an inner force. This isn't just about choosing, it's about understanding. The 5 elemental balls, perfectly balanced on the yin-yang, are more than just medicine, they're a puzzle, and he knows every choice has massive consequences. He gets it, the absolute order is key for consumption, but his genius is already looking for a next-level strategy. He's got the whole framework and ingredients mapped out, and now he's dropping the bomb, he's taking the medicine too. The general is absolutely stunned, asking, all of them. A sly grin spreads across his face as he confirms his audacious move, knowing he's played the trick perfectly and grabbed all the attention. White Dragon is deep in thought, pondering the ultimate truth, real healing goes straight to the source. Back with the general, Yu-ho is seriously worried, convinced that picking the fire elemental ball was a massive mistake. But Yeo Haridun, clutching a glowing orb, is blown away by his master's foresight, all thanks to the ball's secret scent. Yu-ho's jaw drops, utterly shocked by the mention of the fire elemental ball's scent. He flashes back to his initial confusion, staring at those supposedly scentless medicine balls. But then it hit him, every single elemental ball had its own secret, distinct smell. That's when the genius struck him, the 5 elemental scents, when mixed, perfectly cancelled each other out, making the whole thing totally odorless. Standing tall, the general finally grasps the deep wisdom of the 5 elements his master taught, reaching the exact same mind-blowing conclusion. Yeo Haridun can't help but praise the general, recognizing his sharp intellect and the very reason the mighty white dragon is so hyped about him. With a nod of approval, he vows to deliver the general's brilliant answer directly to their master, ensuring his genius is recognized. Then, with a flourish, he presents the general with a vibrant fire elemental ball, urging him to consume it at his leisure. A subtle gasp escapes the general as he takes in the powerful artifact. A sudden realization hits him, he should have immediately consumed that fire elemental ball for its potent healing. Days later, the general is locked in intense meditation, trying to master the elemental energy, but the sheer power makes him question if it's the ball or his own body transforming. Finally, Yeo Haridun leads the general into a magnificent new location, declaring that he's found exactly where he needs to be. Stepping up to the imposing structure, he can already feel the immense power emanating from within. This was it, the legendary pharmacy. Without a moment's hesitation, they stride through the entrance, and the true scope of this place immediately hits him. His jaw practically dropping in disbelief. The pharmacy's interior is mind-blowing, a towering expanse of shelves overflowing with rare ingredients, forcing a stunned wow from him. This was beyond incredible, exactly what you'd expect from the White Dragon's legendary pharmacy. Yeo Haridun then drops a bombshell, revealing that the White Dragon's hospital, including this very pharmacy, isn't just good, it's one of the top 3 hospitals on the entire planet, a massive network of medical powerhouses. He doubles down on the hospital's insane reputation, confirming its status as a global medical titan. Yuho's mind races, remembering snippets from a novel where he'd encountered similar concepts, but experiencing this level of sophistication firsthand is just next level. Yeo Haridun keeps dropping knowledge bombs, clarifying that even though there are tons of medicines out there, the natural ones are usually considered lower tier, not bad, just not the absolute best, a fact he's personally experienced. The camera pans across the endless shelves, revealing an insane collection of plants, jars, and mysterious concoctions, a testament to the sheer scale of their pharmaceutical empire. General Yu-ho drops a bombshell: only 1 or 2 top-tier medicines are made annually, making them super exclusive. Even a successor only gets one shot at it. Yeo Haridun's eyes flash with a hint of shock, but he quickly brushes it off, declaring he's not interested anyway. But the general counters, revealing that even the low-rank stuff, if taken regularly, can boost your inner force for a solid 6 months. Yeo Haridun's mind races, calculating the insane power-up a full year's worth of inner force would grant him if he could just absorb it right. The general emphasizes that medicine is a massive game-changer, especially in Murim, where future masters start training with natural ingredients from childhood. Yeo Haridun's face lights up with a new thought: he'd never dreamed a place like this existed, and now he's actually considering a job here. The general keeps going, marveling at how someone can train like that and still be so incredible. It's almost unbelievable, all thanks to their intense regimen. Yeo Haridun's mind is blown by the sheer magnitude of the White Dragon's hospital, realizing it's on a completely different level compared to any regular hospital or doctor. Back then, no matter what went down, he was always stained with grit and pure determination, grinding it out in the emergency room. He just kept pushing. Convinced that if there was even a sliver of a chance, he couldn't just throw in the towel. So he just kept going, even when he was totally wiped out, even if his heart was pounding with anxiety and fear. He pushed himself so hard, he got so utterly exhausted he literally couldn't feel a thing anymore. That's when it hit him: he was losing his emotions, his very feelings. But now, here in this place, these pharmacy workers didn't even know his name, yet they treated him like he was some kind of legend. And he realized, every single time he saw those smiles, he trusted them with that cherished expression. A soft chuckle broke the silence from the white-haired man, and Yeo Haridun was totally taken aback. Seeing Yeo Haridun's awe, the white-haired man can't help but comment: "Glad you're having fun." The White Dragon then asks where they are, and General Yu-ho quickly explains, "This is the White Dragon's pharmacy." Yeo Haridun, still taking it all in, simply says, "Thank you." And at the core of it all, a pulsating, glowing orb, the very nexus where the White Dragon's immense power is focused. Later, the White Dragon checks in with General Yu-ho, asking, "Am I leveling up fast enough?" The general confirms his insane progress but warns him to chill out and not burn himself out. Elsewhere, Jean, ever the professional, gives a crisp, "Yes, sir. Got it," to an unseen voice. Back with the crew, the White Dragon announces, "All right, time to grub." Passing a small child, the White Dragon adds, "We also need to get your living arrangements sorted." The kid, beaming, shouts, "Yes, master." The White Dragon's new pad, already underway, was finished in no time. And wow, they really poured a ton of cash into speeding up the build, resulting in this incredible new place. With a decisive step onto the glowing threshold, the White Dragon enters his domain, feeling the raw power of his new home surge beneath him. The interior explodes with intricate designs and carvings, unlike anything ever witnessed, a mind-blowing display of the Cloud Dragon's secure delivery service's unparalleled artistry. The white-haired man reveals the impossible: 3 days, that's all it took. An insane amount of resources were poured in, blowing past all expectations to make this happen. Pointing to the main house, he declares it the ultimate sanctuary for the Dragon Lord to finally relax, and General Yu-ho chimes in, noting the interior is a total surprise, way beyond their initial talks. The Dragon Lord, utterly thrilled, casually declares this place not too bad for him, making General Yu-ho visibly shake with disbelief at his master's understated reaction to pure luxury. Next, the white-haired man reveals they supercharged the furnace with massive resources, guaranteeing it'll run at peak, insane efficiency. General Yu-ho confirms it's ridiculously efficient, a massive upgrade from the old one, while Yeo Haridun's stomach lets out a loud growl, clearly ready for a feast. The white-haired man teases them about the secret knowledge behind the build, but General Yu-ho cuts him off, reminding him they promised not to pry, though he's betting the Dragon Lord will spill the beans eventually. Yeo Haridun, beaming, declares he's seen all he needs to see, his mind already on the epic feast that's surely coming. Out of nowhere, a target takes a brutal hit, the sheer power of the blow ripping through them with explosive red energy. A determined voice cuts through the chaos, "Simply do what I can," as a smoking bullet casing drops, signaling the unseen attacker's deadly precision. The White Dragon, ever the patient master, waits for Jin in the courtyard, who finally shows up. The master turns, asking how he's been, and Jin's all like, "I'm totally fine, loving this heated energy." Jin then drops the bomb, he's feeling more refreshed every single day, and it's all thanks to his master. Next up, it's back to the training grounds, where the White Dragon is about to drop some serious knowledge, diving deeper into the 5 elemental techniques. He shows off a precise move, telling Jin he's gotta focus all that chi from his whole body, and blast it straight into his fingertips. Jin, locked in, starts channeling his own energy, and you can already see that faint red aura flaring around him. That energy just keeps swirling, showing off his insane power-up. Jin, absolutely engulfed in a vibrant, fiery aura, is locked in intense concentration, the instructor's words pushing him further. Even as his hands visibly tremble, a clear sign of the raw power he's wrangling, he's pushing past his limits. The raw chi is absolutely exploding around him, twisting into a furious, blazing vortex. His eyes are practically on fire with the same intense energy, reflecting the sheer, unstoppable force he's unleashing. The entire forest clearing is practically vibrating, the air shimmering with the sheer, unleashed power. Absolutely unwavering, he maintains his laser focus, golden energy particles swirling around him. From a distance, the white dragon is watching his student's insane progress, his own eyes blazing with a piercing blue light. With an incredible surge of control, Jin condenses the volatile energy into a small, perfect sphere of pure fire right above his palm. The concentrated chi then flows down, absolutely engulfing his leg in a powerful, crimson glow, showcasing his incredible mastery over the elemental technique. After absolutely crushing the first phase of his training, Jin gets the ultimate nod of approval. His mentor, the White Dragon, is hyped about his insane progress, dropping truth bombs about how hard the start is, but Jin's just blasting through it. Level up achieved. The White Dragon's like, alright, time for some real homework. A sudden gust of power whips around them, and both Jin and the White Dragon snap their eyes open, totally locked in for what's next. The White Dragon is genuinely shocked, admitting Jin's the youngest ever to hit this insane power tier. His flowing white hair is a whole vibe, just radiating ancient, powerful wisdom. Jin's eyes are straight up infernos as a wild, blazing aura explodes around him, his hand literally crushing raw energy into a super-dense fire orb. Those wild, orange and red flames are just going off around him, proving he's leveling up his mastery like crazy. Fire orb locked and loaded, the White Dragon drops the next mission, compress that power even more, into one ultimate point. In a flash of blinding speed, the White Dragon unleashes a devastating strike, his sword wreathed in a furious red glow, proclaiming that nothing, not even steel, can withstand his might. The blade tears through the colossal tree trunk, a searing explosion of power erupting on impact. The raw power shatters the wood, sending splinters exploding outwards as the giant tree groans and begins to fall. Just as he declared, the mighty tree crashes down, defeated. The White Dragon remains perfectly still, utterly unfazed, as the giant tree collapses in his wake, a monument to his overwhelming strength. Witnessing the impossible, Jin's jaw drops. That enormous tree, gone in one hit? How is that even possible? He moves closer to the perfectly cut stump, his mind still reeling from the sheer impossibility of it all. Even the master admits that after all this time, he still can't quite believe the sheer perfection of the cut. Then, with a knowing look, the White Dragon challenges Jin, hoping he was paying attention. The White Dragon wasn't done yet. Jin's jaw dropped as he watched the insane green energy, wind chi, but on a whole new level, swirl around them. He wasn't holding back. The White Dragon unleashed a torrent of green energy, locking onto a giant tree trunk with pinpoint accuracy. He was a blur of motion, the wind chi transforming into a devastating vortex around him. Jin was absolutely floored, the raw power hitting him like a tidal wave. His mind raced, trying to comprehend how this monstrous power was even possible with wind chi. Just as the energy peaked, the White Dragon dropped a bombshell, the real secret of wind was transportation. Boom! With a blinding flash, the wind chi absolutely obliterated the tree trunk. The force was unreal, tearing the giant trunk apart in an instant. And just like that, the tree was perfectly sliced in half. The tree trunk, absolutely obliterated, now stood split in half, the sheer force of the wind chi still radiating from its core. Witnessing the sheer devastation, Jin was absolutely speechless, his mind reeling from the casual display of power. His jaw dropped, his eyes wide with disbelief at the impossible feat. The White Dragon, casually flipping through a book, revealed that the tree was utterly devoured by pure chi, leaving absolutely nothing of its former self. Then, with a challenging gaze at Jin, he announced it was now his turn to try and replicate that insane power. Jin, still reeling from the sheer power, blurted out if they should just let the tree rot, but then caught himself, the weight of the White Dragon's words sinking in. He stared at the ruined trunk, a sudden realization hitting him, this wasn't about destruction, it was about saving something on the brink. The White Dragon confirmed it, declaring that only when he fully restored the tree would his training be complete, leaving Jin utterly bewildered by the monumental task ahead. Strolling away, the White Dragon coolly asked just how long Jin expected to take on this seemingly impossible mission. The White Dragon throws down the gauntlet, wondering if he's pushed Jin too far, admitting the challenge is 3 levels beyond his current power and on a tight deadline. Jin starts to retort, claiming no one else on Earth could pull this off, only for the White Dragon to cut him off, confirming his exact thought. With a subtle energy surge from his hand, the White Dragon presses on, teasing Jin about getting a little soft, hinting at the unique advantage he's been given. His eyes blaze with an electrifying golden glow, a raw display of power and absolute conviction behind every single word. Strolling away, the white dragon drops another truth bomb. Jin's the only one with the right chi for this mission, then delivers the kicker. All that training won't earn him an easy pass. Jin, with a pulsating orb of energy in his grasp, stares down the impossible challenge, a stark realization hitting him. This insane task is his only shot at becoming a true doctor. With a fierce resolve, he reaches out, channeling the potent green chi straight into the shattered tree. White Dragon is out here, absolutely drenched, and he can't help but laugh at the irony. Even the weather is against him. He stares up at this absolutely massive tree, totally wrecked by lightning, and just lets out a defeated sigh. As he's like, seriously? I'm supposed to fix this giant, fried tree with just my tier 1 water. Ugh. He totally didn't expect to find a lightning-struck piece of bark, especially not one this messed up, after going through all that trouble to get a piece from his own world. He's thinking about this whole situation, and figures if someone wanted to teach him to spare with an impossible task, they wouldn't set it up like this. With a determined look, he basically tells the tree it's doomed. Maybe then it'll get how frustrating it is for a godly doctor and dragon to fail, or even die themselves. But then, a new idea hits him, realizing the bottom half of the tree could still be alive, meaning there's a chance for it to bounce back. He's really thinking about what this task actually means, like, if he's supposed to reattach the top and restore its original form, that's way more than just keeping it alive. He stops dead in his tracks, a shocking thought hitting him like a bolt of lightning as he stares at the colossal, damaged tree. Even now, he realizes, this tree is still sucking up water. Thinking about how water makes everything grow, he starts putting the pieces together, seeing the raw power of wood and fire in his mind's eye. His mind races through the elements, earth fights water, and metal, gets swallowed by the earth. A wild vision of swirling water and glowing energy explodes in his head, a pure elemental storm. Then, it clicks. A massive moment, he shouts, realizing he's finally got it, the exact answer he's been searching for. He remembers his master's words, a forgotten memory blasting back into his mind. My master totally said. The ancient wisdom rings in his ears, that, use it, you fool. It's exactly what I need. White Dragon is facing a massive challenge, questioning if he can even pull off these insane 5 elemental techniques. He knows how risky it is to try a method he hasn't even learned yet, his hand touching the tree. But as he stares up at the tree, with Yeo Haraidun watching, he knows this is the only way. He's going all in, even if it kills him, because he's a doctor. Blue and yellow energy starts going wild around him. With a burst of pure will, he slams the 2 elemental energies together, a brilliant yellow sphere crashing into a vibrant blue one. A massive, expanding yellow aura explodes from the collision, and he lets out a cry of pure exertion. Even through the wild energy, he's still got that conviction, totally sure he can handle these insane forces. Then he locks in, revealing his next move, injecting water chi into the expanded metal. The tree trunk is now glowing with intense blue energy, the elemental expansion has doubled, and its effect has tripled. White Dragon was going all out, unleashing a torrent of vibrant blue elemental energy, blasting it straight into the lightning-scarred trunk of the ancient tree. But even with all that power, the strain was real, sweat dripping as he pushed his limits, his face contorted in pure effort. The blue energy pulsed like crazy around the tree, but the rain just kept coming down, a relentless downpour that matched his inner battle. He let out a frustrated sigh, the tree just not budging. Was this really all he had? He knew he still had a long way to go. Meanwhile, Yeo Haraidun was just silently watching the whole thing go down, his face giving absolutely nothing away. Then, a light bulb went off in White Dragon's head. What if he just started with wood chi? He knew the 5 elemental technique was no joke, a super complex art that used all 5 elements to create harmony and disharmony, making it practically impossible for even the best to master. Maybe, just maybe, order was way more important than just throwing a ton of power at it, remembering Turi's telling him to take it 1,000 times slower. The whole point of the technique was that harmony and disharmony balance, because if even one elemental energy was missing, it meant total chi overload. He presses his hand to the ravaged tree, a subtle crackle of energy sparking to life. And with fierce resolve, White Dragon declares his intent to try again, vowing that win or lose, the tree's suffering ends now. Elsewhere, Yeo Haraidun, keeping watch, confirms the doctor is still out cold in his room, insisting he needs the rest after all his intense efforts. With General Yu-Ho and Yeo Haraidun observing, White Dragon pushes on, his mind racing with doubts. Is he pushing his young student too hard with this insane challenge? Or should he crank up the difficulty even more? A low thrum vibrates from the tree as his power surges. A stark reminder echoing in his mind, a master's selfish ambition can utterly destroy a student's future. Then, a jolt of realization hits him, his eyes snapping wide at a sudden shift within the tree. A single thought screaming through his mind, is this even the same tree anymore? The tree now pulses with an impossible fusion of wood and water chi, a sight he's never seen before in one place, forcing him to confront the terrifying possibility that this is ancient magic, far beyond his wildest comprehension. General Yu-ho is absolutely floored, demanding to know how the succession was finished in record time, less than a single day. White Dragon clarifies that the wood chi erosion scroll usually demands a full day of maintenance, yet he crushed it with only half the wood chi, a truly mind-blowing accomplishment. This level of succession is usually reserved for the elite young masters, and his immense chi should have made the scroll useless, yet he triumphed, bringing an epic blessing to the entire Cloud Dragon sect. But General Yu-ho isn't celebrating, he's convinced they're all doomed, muttering about disciples complaining their aura is too weak, a worry White Dragon just brushes off with a hearty chuckle. But a deeper mystery unfolds, why are these reports being hidden? Across the sect, Yeo Haraidun jolts awake, absolutely stunned by his boosted physical abilities after just one night's rest, his body buzzing with an insane surge of mana. His 5 senses have gone into overdrive, sharper than ever. With a powerful surge, he knows this is just the warm-up, the very start of his incredible new power. His inner force is absolutely exploding, and he's already blown past the martial arts realm, knowing he's destined for even greater heights. He's convinced this insane power-up comes from crushing the Cloud Dragon clan's secret techniques and those extra spiritual balls he snagged, and now he's seriously thinking he could even take down the Demon King. But the White Dragon is just watching, his face giving absolutely nothing away. General Yu-ho, on the other hand, is absolutely floored, completely baffled by the kid's insane power surge. He'd already spilled all his secrets, but Yeo Haraidun just kept getting stronger, now on the verge of blowing past the sub-leaders, the clan leader, and becoming an unstoppable force. Completely oblivious to the general's mounting dread, Yeo Haraidun's power absolutely explodes, a blazing red aura erupting around him. His eyes are burning with an intense, crimson glow, a raw reflection of the overwhelming power now surging through his very core. Suddenly, a deafening noise shatters the peace, making Yeo Haraidun jump, his eyes darting up in shock. His face contorts in pure alarm, a chill running down his spine. What the heck is that sound? He bolts for the door, desperate to find out what's going on. He shoves the massive doors open, and steps into a world he doesn't recognize. Giant rock pillars stab into the heavens, a totally alien view. Where is he? Chaos hangs heavy in the air, and he instantly knows this is way worse than just some noise. Is this an actual attack? Even with everything so bizarre, he clenches his fists, ready to jump into action. Staring out at this wild new world, one question burns in his mind, what chapter of this book is he even in anymore? He reaches for the door, his hand gripping the handle with urgency. Beyond it, a massive clinic looms, its steps swarming with medical staff and 2 imposing figures. One of them, General Yu-ho, stands poised with a nocked arrow, shouting for the White Dragon godly doctor. The young man, with the unconscious doctor slung over his back, desperately pleads, just wanting to talk. As he closes in, the crowd erupts in gasps, and the white-haired man rushes forward, demanding they all calm down and drop their weapons. But the general stands firm, insisting a scene is absolutely unavoidable. The white-haired man suddenly recognizes him as the clinic attacker, a huge question mark exploding above his head. Then he spots the figure on the young man's back, realizing the injured person is around his age and demanding to know what's wrong with her. The general, his face contorted with desperation, begs the young man to let him examine her, to see if she can still be saved. Clutching the fallen White Dragon, Yeo Haraidun's plea echoes with raw desperation, a fierce resolve burning within him to do whatever it takes to save his companion. But the guards aren't backing down. One of them snarls, making it clear they're here for a capture, not a rescue. Stunned, Yeo Haraidun challenges them, demanding to know if they'd really drop their weapons when he's just trying to save a life. General Yu-ho pushes past, his eyes blazing, roaring that he doesn't care about intentions, only that this man is the attacker who stormed their HQ and wounded his soldiers. Then, his voice drops, a chilling demand for the identity of the injured man, revealing him to be none other than the legendary White Dragon godly doctor. Yu-ho presses on, his tone unyielding, declaring that without a letter of recommendation from HQ, this man's presence is unacceptable. His face a mask of resolve, he doubles down, insisting on that letter of recommendation. The general's gaze pierces through the tension, his voice a low, dangerous query, letter of recommendation. Meanwhile, the guards snarl with impatience, one of them grumbling about needing a letter of recommendation. The white-haired man turns away, a crushing weight in his voice as he confesses his daughter was meant to perish right there. His face contorts in agony as he continues, forced to abandon her to a dark, twisted fate. Then, a chilling thought strikes him, a sudden, agonizing doubt, was his daughter truly destined to die there? He flashes back to the Waju clinic, where the head doctor tried desperately to save her, but couldn't, the insidious poison claiming her life despite their efforts. His voice cracks with fury, demanding to know how many days have passed, convinced he could have waited, could have saved her. He bitterly recalls the Waju clinic's cold dismissal, claiming they couldn't explain the death of an outsider, a heartless excuse that echoes in his mind. His eyes burn with resolve as he points the finger directly at the Waju clinic for this whole mess, the very place where his daughter's tragic end began. He doubles down, convinced the Waju clinic is behind it all, his eyes cast down, lost in the torment of his past. The grim reality unfolds, a desolate, sandy expanse, a lifeless figure sprawled on the ground, and a lone bullet casing, a chilling echo of the fatal moment. He'd poured his entire life into his work, convinced his power could fix anything, but now, on his knees, he was begging a doctor to save his daughter. Dr. Jean, with a chillingly calm expression, questioned if he seriously expected him to intervene, then dropped the bombshell, "There's nothing I can do." A different doctor, draped in blue, waved off his desperate cries, snapping that the man didn't even have a license to be asking for help. His desperate quest led him to the legendary White Dragon Godly Doctor, where he collapsed, begging, "Please, please, save her." His daughter, ravaged by unknown monsters, was dying. The Waju Clinic's head doctor had given the grim verdict, massive internal injuries, and even their most powerful remedies were useless. That memory, the gut-wrenching helplessness, still haunted him. As he clutched her frail form. The doctor's words, a death knell, rang in his ears, "It's too late to treat her, and she's unable to be saved." That final, crushing verdict, sealing her fate. Pure anguish erupts from both the brown-haired man and Jean, their faces twisted in absolute despair. Disbelief contorts his features, as Jean confronts the White Dragon Godly Doctor, who drops the bombshell, "It's already too late." A gut-wrenching gasp tears from the White Dragon Godly Doctor, leaving Jean and the other man utterly shattered. He presses on, a sinister purple energy coiling around his hand, teasing a truth far more horrifying than they could imagine. His eyes blaze with an unholy purple glow, the White Dragon Godly Doctor's face a chilling blend of sorrow and raw, untamed power. Jin's face twists into a mask of pure agony as he lets out a guttural scream, the revelation shattering his very soul. Engulfed in a swirling vortex of raw purple energy, the White Dragon Godly Doctor casts his gaze downward, radiating an overwhelming aura of profound regret. He pleads, the purple energy still surging, dropping the ultimate bombshell, the daughter is intrinsically linked to his White Dragon's very essence. Beneath a pristine sky, a winding path cuts through lush, vibrant greenery. And along this very path, a group gathers, with General Yu-ho, his gaze stern, addressing them. But close by, Yeo Haraidun's face twists with a clear sign of irritation. Then, without warning, a commanding voice cuts through the air, calling out Yu-ho's name. With potent purple energy crackling around his clenched hand, General Yu-ho's mind races, realizing the novel's vague details are a serious problem. At the same moment, Yeo Haraidun lets out a raw, pained grunt, clearly in distress. The tension explodes as General Yu-ho clamps down on Yeo Haraidun, holding him tight, and the white-haired man lunges forward, shouting for him to release his grip. With the grip still firm, the white-haired man glares at General Yu-ho, his voice sharp as he accuses him of disrespecting his wealth. A desperate internal scream rips through him, as he questions everything, the Anaju's weakness, his own superficiality, and the terrifying thought that this could be the absolute end. He's thrown back, a raw, primal disgust for the sheer, suffocating bloodlust exploding around him. This explosive reaction. It's the phantom armor, baby. A raw, protective instinct igniting within him. Meanwhile, a whole squad of guards is locked and loaded, their faces stone-cold as they watch the chaos erupt. They're staying sharp, spears gripped tight, ready for anything. Then, the whole scene explodes into view, Yeo Haraidun is down, staring up at General Yu-ho and the white-haired man, who are locked in a standoff, surrounded by armed guards and a buzzing crowd. From his spot on the ground, Yeo Haraidun lets out a shocked gasp, totally blown away by the insane amount of martial arts going down. He's genuinely stunned, this power display is just next level. He shuts it down immediately, his voice cutting through the tension, making it clear that some lines just can't be crossed. But those words? They just set General Yu-ho off, his face contorting into pure, unadulterated fury. A terrifying red aura explodes around him as he roars, "I swear on my name as the Phantom General, I'll wipe out every single one of you in this hospital." And just to drive the point home, he snarls, "And then I'll take out that damn Waju doctor too." No sooner are the words out than General Yu-ho explodes forward, a crimson streak of pure power, slamming into the white-haired man's desperate blue shield, the clash echoing as Yeo Haraidun, still on the ground, feels the sheer weight of the moment. Holding his daughter tight, the white-haired man desperately tries to talk him down, asking if he even heard him, thinking he could snap him out of it by dropping the Cloud Dragon name, but it's no use, the general is completely unhinged. The general's attack just keeps coming, a brutal, non-stop barrage, and the white-haired man is barely holding on, gasping for air. But even under fire, the white-haired man's gaze turns to steel, a defiant challenge in his voice, "Do I look like I'm joking?" And as the fight explodes, Yeo Haraidun's eyes ignite with a blazing, crimson glow, his stare locked onto the chaos, ready for anything. He watches, a chilling realization dawning on him as the man before him transforms into something else entirely. General Yu-ho, now radiating a fierce red aura, is powering up for another devastating assault. Rumors say the White Dragon Godly Doctor is a top-tier martial artist, but the general, his voice dripping with menace, boasts he could turn his foe into a corpse, even while holding back. He then confidently asserts his ability to bring down everyone in the hospital, including the child, with him. What a monster! The young observer wonders if the general's chilling words are actually directed at him. The white-haired man's expression hardens, his eyes narrowing with grim, unyielding determination. Stepping forward, shielding his daughter, he condemns the phantom arrow for resorting to such a despicable act as taking a young child hostage. A confident smile spreads across his face as he proclaims his uncertainty has vanished. He's ready. Enraged, General Yu-ho's eyes glow red amidst swirling red and blue energy, his intent to kill now absolutely undeniable. He knew he had to step in, to shut down this whole chaotic mess, no matter what it took. But it was already over. General Yu-ho was standing tall, the white-haired man was down, and the crowd was in shock, when a frantic "Master" ripped through the air. Yeo Haraidun, witnessing the whole brutal spectacle, was absolutely stunned, but a fierce resolve burned in his eyes, a silent promise to act. General Yu-ho, still towering over his defeated foe, was hit with a desperate request from the white-haired man, who just wanted to take a look, but got a harsh "what" in return. The attendants nearby could only stare, their jaws practically on the floor, totally caught up in the raw drama unfolding. General Yu-ho's rage absolutely exploded, his eyes burning with a terrifying red glow, a chilling warning of his power. With his daughter clinging to him, the white-haired man heard the brutal truth from General Yu-ho. "Cheon, you're saying she's beyond help?" he pressed, then declared, "You're right. She's beyond saving." From his hidden spot, Yeo Haraidun's brain was on fire, a wild idea sparking, but if she's already doomed, maybe it's worth trying something, even if it's crazy, and... Elsewhere, another mysterious figure, watching the white-haired man, laid out a bold plan. "We need to get that guy, that villain, on our team." Suddenly, Jean takes a devastating hit, blood exploding as a bullet casing drops, forcing him to push his limits and do whatever it takes. Back to the present, the white-haired man's daughter remains motionless on the bed, a heartbreaking sight in the somber chamber. Medical staff carefully transfer her to a stretcher, while General Yu-ho and Yeo Haraidun observe with heavy hearts. The white-haired man is on his knees by his daughter's side, his world crumbling, as Yeo Haraidun watches the devastating scene unfold. A pained "ah" escapes his lips, the legendary berserker now just a heartbroken father. Yeo Haraidun observes, realizing this man would never use his own child as a pawn, no matter what. As the sun sets, the white-haired man stands alone, gazing over the city, a picture of profound solitude. He sacrificed everything, every ounce of pride, for his daughter's survival, truly becoming a father. A choked "I'm sorry" escapes his lips, because after navigating the treacherous line between good and evil, his perception had become razor-sharp. The White Dragon Godly Doctor dropped some serious wisdom, and Yeo Haraidun couldn't help but lock onto his gaze, those eyes practically screaming with the weight of 1,000 human experiences. How did they even pull off such a chill, elegant vibe after all that time? It was totally mind-blowing compared to the mess he'd been through. Raidun then dropped a bombshell, stating that no one's death could faze him, except for one single, crucial person. He'd seen death so many times as a martial artist, it was practically his second home, so yeah, he was way tougher than the White Dragon Godly Doctor, obviously. But hey, he had to give it up for the doctor, the guy was just built different. The doctor was like a total rock, just standing there, unshakable and kinda creepy, and it was seriously making Raidun anxious. Raidun gave a quick bow, dropping a super sincere apology, you could practically feel the regret radiating off him. But before he could even finish, the white dragon snatched him by the collar, yanking him in close with a stare that could melt steel. The white dragon's eyes, usually chill, were now razor-sharp and totally intense, and his words cut through the air with unnerving precision. Even with the world transformed and his age advanced, Jean feels an undeniable pull, a primal instinct that screams he's back in the fight. But then, the stark reality hits him, this isn't a battlefield, it's a hospital. The journey, however, is far from over. Inside the super-traditional operating room, things were about to get seriously intense. White Dragon, Jean, and General Yu-ho were all there, eyes locked on the kid, totally focused. The white-haired man's daughter was just lying there, looking super weak while Yeo Haraidun kept watch. He was seriously thinking about the whole situation, like, can I actually fix this with my medical skills? Staring at the unconscious kid, he had to be real, no guarantees. No X-rays, no CT scans, no MRI in this world, so how could he even check? But maybe, just maybe, the old books had the answers. Jean, seeing the master deep in thought, was like, yo, let's just check her stomach first. It's gotta be possible. The white-haired man, totally stressed, softly asked if his daughter had eaten, and got a quiet nope back. The white-haired man gave the signal, and Yeo Haraidun braced himself. This wasn't just any medical case, this was about to be one of the most insane challenges he'd ever faced in the Murim world. He kicked off the chi inspection, locking in his internal energy. His eyes flared with a faint blue glow as he zeroed in, the white-haired man glued to his every move. They say you can literally feel what's going on inside with chi flow, and let me tell you, it's like modern medicine, but on steroids. He laid out the technique, emphasizing that he'd been told you could literally feel inside the body just by tracking chi flow. He moved to the bed, gently placing his hand on the girl's stomach, and the real examination began. But to actually see it, to feel those intricate flows and blockages firsthand, it was absolutely mind-blowing. He also realized he had tons of chi himself, which meant he could totally master this with more practice. With his eyes still blazing with diagnostic energy, the white-haired man watched, a cocktail of hope and dread on his face. The white-haired man lays down the law, demanding absolute secrecy about what's going on, making sure everyone's on the same page. He then turns to Yeo Haraidun, pressing him on whether the assailant wielded some kind of insane martial arts technique. And if there was anything distinct about it. Yeo Haraidun drops the bomb, confirming the attacker is tied to a specific, powerful clan. The white-haired man immediately recognizes the name, revealing them to be the White Jade clan, part of the Justice faction. A sudden, sharp realization flashes across Yeo Haraidun's gaze. As he grapples with the sheer audacity, a grudge is one thing, but attacking a child? That's a whole new level of messed up. His face contorts in fury, a single, burning thought erupting from him, what absolute bastards. Some battles are just too massive, too deeply rooted, for even the most legendary figures to step in until the absolute final moment. But the grim reality persists as blood continues to drip, a brutal reminder of the child's critical state. He grimly weighs the consequences, realizing that if the attacker is from the Justice faction, they'll crush anyone who gets in their way, turning this whole mess into a massive headache. But the white-haired man quickly cuts in, warning him that this is the Phantom Archer's problem alone, and they absolutely cannot interfere. Yet, the young doctor stands firm, his gaze unwavering, his only mission is to save this patient. A subtle shift, a spark of recognition, flashes in the white-haired man's eyes. While Raidun, in a moment of self-reflection, admits this cold, unchildlike indifference is a flaw he shares. General Yu-ho gives a firm nod, acknowledging this medical philosophy as absolutely vital for any martial world doctor, a truth the white-haired man silently confirms. With the initial intel gathered, the white-haired man looks to him, demanding to know their next move, especially since the attacker's internal force has left the child with devastating necrosis. With surgical precision, his hands move over the patient's arm. Yeo Haraidun quickly assesses the situation, realizing the surgery itself is the least of their worries. But the real challenge lies ahead. Later, facing the white-haired man and General Yu-ho, he reveals the true horror: the internal force has already spread, making the surgery a mere prelude to the real battle. The stakes are high. As they walk, the doctor lays out the grim reality: they need the Justice faction's permission just to talk about the next steps. The white-haired man's face hardens, demanding to know if his daughter's life truly hangs on just two options. The doctor's words hit hard: either let her die, or he risks his own life, using his internal force to fight the necrosis, a move that could kill him. A fierce determination ignites in the white-haired man's eyes, as he vows to fight for his daughter's life, no matter the cost. His voice rings with chilling conviction, warning that if the doctor fails, he too will fall. A tense silence falls, the gravity of his ultimatum palpable. Then, he clarifies his chilling vow, declaring he'd rather die fighting for his daughter than live with the crushing regret of not giving his all. The white-haired man stands his ground, eyes blazing with resolve. He's ready to fight for his daughter until the bitter end, choosing death over a life of regret. Witnessing that raw, unyielding determination, Yeo Haraidun can only nod, knowing he has to push his limits and simply do what he can. His mind flashes back to his daughter, her incredible bravery, and how she always saw him as the hero of her story, a role he'd always fallen short of. He's haunted by his past failures, unable to protect her back then, and even now, he's still fighting to keep her safe. His face twists with raw anguish and iron resolve, swearing to finally be the hero she always believed in, to fight for her until the absolute end. He recalls her innocent wish to learn to read and write, to become someone great, a future he's determined to make a reality. His expression darkens, a silent, desperate plea escaping him: is it already too late? He shakes his head, rejecting that fate, even if it means becoming the villain in his own tale. He absolutely cannot let her go. His daughter's face flashes in his mind, a burning reminder of his ultimate purpose. He was a coward, plain and simple. Abandoning his family, fleeing the battlefield, only to be ridiculed by everyone. Those memories, they crushed him. All of it because he was too weak. But then, the white-haired man's desperate plea cut through the noise, begging him to save his daughter. How could he just let her die? Her life was perfectly fine, there was still a chance. He reached out, offering comfort to the broken father. Telling him, "I'm back, sir." Later, facing the seated man. He asked if their talk went well, secretly admitting he had no choice but to lie and say he could easily find the cure. White Dragon demands speed from General Yu-ho, telling him to get ready with the details. The world opens up to a stark, alien landscape, jagged peaks piercing the heavens. Back in the study, Yeo Haridun pores over the ancient scroll, the white-haired man watching intently. The daughter remains bedridden, her fragile state a stark reminder of the harsh truth: this place offers no comfort. A deep concern etches itself onto the white-haired man's face, his thoughts clearly far away. Surrounded by cold instruments, the daughter's plight is undeniable, a silent testament to the grim reality her father faces. Yeo Haridun's eyes burn with conviction, his inner monologue a testament to the weight of his commitment. A breathtaking vista unfolds, showcasing majestic rock formations and ancient, sprawling architecture. Revealing a magnificent estate nestled perfectly within the natural grandeur. But within these walls, a critical situation unfolds as a patient lies motionless, their fate hanging in the balance. The medical report is grim, a devastating liver laceration, a rupture that should have been a death sentence. Yet, impossibly, her ribs are completely fine, a bizarre contradiction. And with her inner force and chi at absolute zero, how has she clung to life for 10 whole days? Jean, however, understands the true power of chi, its omnipotent ability to heal and sustain life, even in the direst circumstances. Suddenly, General Yu-ho bursts in, announcing his mission accomplished, right on schedule. Jean, taken aback, can only react with a stunned, already? Jean, locked in, is already prepping. He's got this glowing, almost otherworldly white thread, ready to pull off something insane. General Yu-ho is absolutely stunned, blown away by how fast Jean got everything ready. The white-haired man breathes a sigh of relief, admitting he was worried about the general's take on this wild plan, especially with all the blood loss involved. But Jin's got it covered, already prepped the blood, and he's hyped to get started. His eyes burning with determination, Jean is absolutely ready to face this challenge head-on. He's making a solemn promise: if it takes his own life force to save her, he'll do it, as the epic title "Doctor" revived flashes, signaling the start of the ultimate medical showdown. The operating room is buzzing, a full-on medical team swarming the patient for a high-stakes open-heart surgery, and you can already see these wild, glowing red threads at the incision. Jean is deep in it, those glowing red threads his tools, fully aware of the insane pressure, because if his chi even flickers, he's done for, unable to pull off these hyper-precise chi moves. This is next-level stuff. He's literally weaving his chi into the patient's body as a suture, a technique that's supposedly way faster and cleaner than anything conventional. The white-haired man's jaw drops, absolutely flabbergasted, as he grasps that Jean is unleashing hundreds of the most powerful chi operations all at once. The white-haired man is absolutely floored, watching a child pull off something so impossible, so uncanny, it's beyond belief. General Yu-ho, just as shocked, can only describe it as otherworldly. Watching the whole thing unfold, he confesses he's never seen anything like it. His eyes flaring with a subtle glow, Jean steels himself, ready to kick off the main event, knowing he absolutely has to keep that blood flow in check. Suddenly, a fiery red chi explodes from his hand, and the real work begins. He locks in, every ounce of his being focused on perfectly balancing blood and chi, no room for error. This phantom chi he's using is the only way, the absolute last resort to keep the patient alive. He's finally mastered the art of healing, and now he's pouring all that power into recovery, because this is the ultimate medical art for saving lives. Everyone's here, all for one child, with everything riding on Jean. He's checking the vitals, a slight frown already creeping onto his face. Wait, if we just scan this, and finish up. But then his eyes snap open, because the blood pressure is tanking. Why is this happening? He demands, his voice tight with alarm. A chill runs down his spine as the heart rate plummets, completely out of nowhere. No way, she should be able to hold on. Then, a horrifying thump. Blood explodes, a catastrophic internal event unfolding right before his eyes. He's staring down, a massive question mark practically hovering over his head, his brain scrambling to figure out what just went wrong. His eyes narrow, practically yelling at the patient's fading spirit, "Young master, what are you doing?" Another sickening splash of blood confirms his absolute worst nightmare. Then, with a chilling, gut-wrenching realization, he finally pinpoints the disaster, a spleen rupture. He finally zeroes in on the problem. The liver might bounce back, but the other organs? They're taking a serious hit too. But the real nightmare? It's the spleen. Lose that, and her immune system tanks, leaving her a sitting duck for any little scratch, a normal life. Forget about it. This operation? It's basically a medical impossibility. Especially with the life she's always dreamed of, and a heavy thump just hammers home how dire this is. His eyes narrow, laser-focused on just how messed up that spleen really is. Facing the worried father and his daughter, he drops the bombshell: a resection is a must. And the reaction? Pure shock. The father's face twists with doubt, can he actually pull off something this insane? Jin flashes a confident grin, declaring there's no way the father has to carry this weight alone, even if he admits he's got some room to grow. Then, a glowing surgical tool materializes, poised for the insane task of removing a spleen, with a crackling PZZT as it powers up. He's about to show them exactly how to pull off the impossible, something no one thought a human could ever do. Jin closes his eyes, focusing his incredible power. A brilliant blue-green aura erupts from his hands, kicking off the most insane surgery ever. That incredible light washes over the patient, surging into her body as he works his magic, his insane healing energy fixing everything inside. The white-haired man can barely believe his eyes, gasping as he realizes her pulse is actually coming back. Jin keeps pushing, the blue-green power around his hands going absolutely wild, showing off the sheer force he commands. The white-haired man is blown away, thinking Jin is truly the GOAT physician, but then he shakes it off, realizing it's no time to fanboy, they gotta get her to recovery ASAP. Jin's hands move with insane precision, wielding a tool like a master, his focus locked in. Those specialized tools shine, reflecting the intense work happening, showing just how complex this surgery is. Jin's brow is furrowed, pushing through the final moments, his face hidden by a mask as the surgery wraps up. Then, with a huge sigh of relief, he announces, all done. Absolutely spent, he can only wonder how long he's been out, every ounce of energy completely gone. The white-haired man, overwhelmed with relief, can't stop thanking him for saving his daughter's life, vowing eternal service. Jin's eyes snap open, his bandaged face a testament to the brutal ordeal he just endured. Guards nearby spot him stirring, shouting for him to wake up. The white-haired man is practically bowing, praising his superhuman patience and sheer will. He then barks orders to swiftly move his daughter to a new location. But Jin's expression is pure confusion, a silent question hanging in the air. He manages a weak call, reaching out to the white-haired man. And then, a mysterious blue-green light bursts from his hand, startling the white-haired man, as the girl remains unconscious. A chilling sensation, like jagged ice shards, pierces through the darkness, a cold, painful memory. The feeling intensifies, as if countless fragments of ice are tearing at something vital, a brutal, relentless assault. It's a pain so profound, it feels as though his very heart is being ripped apart, a torment beyond words. The white-haired man collapses, blood staining his white robes, a pained gasp escaping his lips, a devastating blow. Even in his agony, his thoughts are consumed by regret, unable to protect his own child, a crushing failure. Later, within the quiet solitude of a traditional home, a moment of fragile peace. He sits beside his daughter, reflecting on the constant pain he has grown accustomed to, a heavy burden he carries. He gazes at her with sorrow, wondering if she ever truly understood the meaning of life, a poignant, heartbreaking question. A voice from the shadows confirms, yes, leader, ready to execute the plan. In a hushed, tense exchange, one figure reveals the grim truth, this medicine is pure addiction, but it's the only shot at pain relief, the last resort. The tiny, white pill, a harbinger of both salvation and damnation, is held in a trembling hand. He recalls his own parents, accepting the same grim fate, the same medicine, a last resort for those beyond hope. He lies there, a faint glow around him, believing they trusted him, to ensure his peaceful end. But the truth was a fiery hell. No relief, just pure, unadulterated pain, a slow, agonizing death. Flames consume him, his eyes burning crimson with pure agony, as he screams the horrifying truth, he couldn't even die, trapped in this living nightmare. His face a mask of silent horror, he was condemned to an eternity of torment, a living corpse, a soul trapped in hell. Just as the dark memories fade, a desperate cry rips through the air. Quickly, quickly. Master is in danger, someone screams at Jin, demanding immediate action. Both Jin and the white-haired man are instantly on edge, their faces contorting in a shared moment of pure shock and concern. A brilliant, almost divine light illuminates a past scene, and Jin, looking up, vows internally that this child, this white-haired man, absolutely must be protected. He ponders if that's why the child radiated such brilliance, while his own past self was consumed by a hatred so profound there was no space for anything else, a darkness he never even attempted to break free from. A subtle energy pulses from his hand as he remembers the raw power he once felt, a force he had no clue how to control. In another poignant memory, the white-haired man's daughter, with a brave face, declares that even though she's a bit scared, she's going to be okay. The narrative smoothly transitions to a peaceful night, where a luminous full moon shines softly through an open window. Back in the present, the white-haired man keeps a silent vigil by his daughter's bed, watching her slumber, a lone candle flickering softly in the hushed chamber. A low groan rips from him as he claws his way back to consciousness. His eyes snap open, locking onto the ceiling above, a single, urgent question burning in his mind, how long has he been out? He shoves himself upright, a grunt of exertion tearing through the silence, his face a mask of bewildered confusion. Scanning his surroundings, a chilling realization hits him, could someone have been guarding him this whole time? His eyes lock onto Jean, sprawled out, fast asleep on the floor beside him, just as a voice from the entrance cuts through the quiet, announcing his return to consciousness with a respectful, "Master." Yu-Ho, his face a mask of deep concern, stands nearby, his eyes fixed on the master with an unspoken worry. He reveals Jin's relentless dedication, how he stubbornly pushed himself, refusing rest to practice his breathing and circulate his chi, then drops the bombshell, "This whole mess. It's all because of the lady." The master's gaze softens on Jin, confirming he'd already administered a potent healing pill, confident that he'll recover. Yu-Ho presses the master to finally get some rest, pointing out his days without sleep, but the master, his gaze heavy, refuses, declaring he can't rest after causing Jin so much pain. The white-haired man poured his energy into Jin, who could feel his very essence draining, realizing he'd lost a massive amount of blood and would chi. He knew he could only push through and do what he could. The white-haired man's hand pulsed with power, knowing that Jin was barely starting his recovery, so his internal energies were still incredibly weak. He pushed Jin to rest, but Jin, with his usual grit, shot back that he wasn't tired. A fierce resolve hardened the white-haired man's gaze as he thought, telling himself that even if his own body was totally out of whack, it was only by a tiny, pea-sized margin. His hand blazed with raw power. The blue aura around Jin exploded, and the white-haired man silently gave his thanks, knowing this was all because of him. Later, gazing out over a vibrant village, he realized that for the first time in ages, he actually felt the urge to live. His eyes softened as he murmured, a deep hope that he'd get to watch someone grow up. After a tense moment, the white-haired man, ever the calm presence, asks, "Are you okay now?" Jin, clearly shaken but relieved, manages, "You're." A slight smile plays on his lips as he adds, "I must have scared you," suddenly collapsing. Jin, visibly relieved, admits, "I'm relieved. I was really shocked. I was worried, master." A quiet moment passes as the white-haired man's gaze drifts. Meanwhile, Jin's thoughts race. It wasn't just worry, his entire head went blank in that terrifying instant. But the white-haired man's thoughts are far away, grappling with a profound realization. The moment he lost his desire to live, he lost his balance. A fleeting thought crosses his mind, should he have just died then? But no. He didn't, because he has a reason to live now, someone he wants to see grow up. His mind flashes to a precious memory of his daughter, walking beside him, her innocent question cutting deep, perhaps all the people who don't have parents are like that? He gazes down at her, a profound truth hitting him, does it really matter what his past was, when he has her? Later, in quiet solitude, the white-haired man finally finds peace, apologizing to himself for the long wait, and feeling a profound happiness that he's finally come to his senses about his own life. He's all ears as Jin, clearly worried, calls him out on his past actions, asking if he was just faking it. Taking it in stride, the white-haired man coolly clarifies that he's got no disciples, so there's no one for him to teach. But before he can even finish, a brutal, sudden pain hits him, ripping a choked cry from his throat as blood explodes from his mouth. A brutal cough tears through him, splattering crimson everywhere as Jin stares, absolutely stunned. The coughing just won't stop, his face twisted in pure agony, blood now painting his chin and robe. Every single spasm just blasts more blood from his mouth, a shocking, crimson explosion against the quiet backdrop. Finally, the fit breaks, leaving him absolutely breathless, his whole body shaking from the brutal ordeal. From a towering rooftop, a lone figure surveys the sprawling, ancient complex below, a silent guardian in the face of impending chaos. But inside, panic erupts. General Yu-Ho shouts, "Master's QI is getting weaker," as Yeo Haridun lets out a desperate gasp, the gravity of the situation hitting hard. The massive, opulent hall looms ahead, its grandeur mocking their desperate race against time. As a foot slams down with a powerful crunch, driving them onward. Yu-Ho and Yeo Haridun are practically flying through the halls, their faces grim, as they desperately carry the injured white-haired man, his terrified daughter clinging to their heels. "Master!" Yu-Ho screams, his voice raw with urgency, as they push past their breaking point. They burst in to find the white dragon already supporting the master, his face a mask of pain, with Jin standing by, ready to unleash his medical prowess. The master is down, barely clinging to life, as the white dragon holds him steady and his loyal disciples rush to his side, their faces a mask of pure panic. The white dragon stares down at his master, a desperate plea on his lips, the weight of the moment crushing him. Yeo Haridun's face twists in agony, the raw emotion of seeing his master in such a state is just too much. A brief moment of calm, then a soft voice breaks the silence, asking the question everyone wants to hear. The white dragon, clearly relieved, notes that he'd heard his master was on the mend, and the master himself confirms he's doing all right. Yeo Haridun lets out a huge sigh of relief, the stress finally melting away. The white dragon is overjoyed that his master is okay, declaring this recovery a massive improvement over past scares. But the master, despite his recovery, feels a deep sense of shame, confessing he's leaned on the white dragon for far too long and is mortified to still be so frail after all this time. Still laid up, the white-haired man observes as the white dragon and Jean get ready to make their exit. The white dragon, ever the caretaker, calmly states, "All right, we're heading out now, get some rest." A quiet sigh of relief escapes the white-haired man. Elsewhere, Yeo Haridun nudges General Yu-ho, ready to bounce. "Time to go. We wrapped up our business here, didn't we?" "Right, master." He mutters, almost as an afterthought, "Plus, I've got other stuff to handle. No biggie if I mess up a little." With everyone else getting ready to split, the white dragon offers a quiet moment of connection, placing a hand over the white-haired man's in a reassuring touch. With a knowing look, he reminds the man, "I laid out the blueprint, but this is your first real-world test, right?" The white-haired man replies, "Yeah, but..." A flicker of doubt still in his eyes. The white dragon just holds his gaze, a silent message of confidence passing between them. With a final turn to exit, the white dragon delivers his last instruction, "Since your internal injury is fully healed, I'm telling you." The white-haired man concentrates, and suddenly, a vibrant, light blue energy ignites around him, gathering intensely around his hands as he channels its power. The energy surges, radiating outward from his very being. And the shocking revelation hits him, a deep comprehension of the raw mana surging through his core. He feels it, exactly as the Dragon Lord promised. This new clarity grants him an incredible awareness, allowing him to pinpoint his master's exact location. As his very essence intertwines with the Dragon Lord's, forging an unbreakable link. This, he understands, is the legendary cure for internal injury that Woon Ji-sung, the Dragon Lord, imparted to him. And with the raw power now surging through his very being, it all makes perfect, terrifying sense. The light blue energy explodes, intertwining with dark, chaotic currents and crimson bursts, signaling a monumental and potentially dangerous transformation. The white-haired man was deep in the zone, mana surging, when the white dragon's voice cut through, demanding to know if his energy was back, a vortex of light blue power swirling around him as he powered up. The white dragon, ever the master, pushed him further, commanding him to finish the technique with precision. Then, a surge. The white-haired man's hand ignited with the same brilliant blue, power gathering at his fingertips. His focus was absolute, a silent testament to his resolve, as he pushed through the final phase of the technique. Then, a breath of relief, his eyes snapping open as the immense pressure finally lifted. The white dragon turned, a knowing smirk on his face as he started to speak, the intense training finally reaching its climax. A confident grin spread across the white-haired man's face as he shot back, confirming he'd nailed it. The white dragon gave his final verdict, "It's finished." He was stoked his student finally understood the legendary healing technique, and the white-haired man was ready for what came next. With newfound power coursing through his veins, the white-haired man gazed at his faintly glowing hands, ready to tackle any challenge thrown his way. Fully healed and charged with purpose, the white-haired man is hyped, ready to crush whatever comes next. Just a few days later, at home, his daughter, Gak Yun, freaks out, asking what's up with his head, but then she's totally relieved he's okay. But he's clutching his head, totally overcome with regret, just repeating apologies to his kid. Gak Yun, with tears in her eyes, hugs him super tight, asking if he'd forgotten his own daughter. He's screaming her name, face twisted in pain, hugging her so hard she can barely breathe. He's still holding his head, looking down, muttering another, "I'm sorry," to his kid. He tries to explain how incredibly happy he was, but the words just get stuck. Gak Yun just turns away, her little face totally heartbroken. The young girl, still reeling from everything, can't help but wonder if her dad's energy core is truly back to full power, a deep sadness still clinging to her heart. As a vibrant, golden energy swirls around him, she sees his recovery, but a heavy worry still grips her. She can't shake the feeling that even though he's back, he might not be able to use his powers like before, and that thought just crushes her. Meanwhile, the white-haired man is outside with General Yu-ho and a little blue creature, and the general is hyped, shouting, "Whoa! You're actually up and moving." They head for the entrance, and the general motions them inside, where the young girl is waiting. Inside, the general gives a sincere thanks, noting the daughter's good health, and the white-haired man is clearly overwhelmed, a tear rolling down his face. He pulls his daughter into a tight hug, and she's just bawling, her tiny hands gripping his robe as she cries her heart out. Through her tears, she chokes out, "Please stop crying, Dad. I'm fine, but now I'm worried about you." Dr. Jean Cheon he reports to the White Dragon, confirming the girl's condition is stable for now. But warns that the old methods won't cut it anymore. The white-haired man jumps in, worried his daughter won't be able to ask for much longer. He turns to his daughter, standing next to the White Dragon, promising a reward for her patience. The White Dragon, watching it all, just tells him to do what he can. Clutching his daughter tight, the white-haired man explains he's only doing this to see her smile again, not for his own gain. He presses on, asking if she gets that he's doing this for her, not for some Father of the Year award. His daughter, clearly upset, can only manage a choked, tearful, "Dad." The white-haired man gently tells her to just sit and chill, trying to calm her down. But the girl just trembles, eyes wide with fear and uncertainty, totally unable to relax. His mind races, a stark realization hitting him, a peak expert, now just an ultimate warrior, huh? The white dragon watches, the girl's fear still palpable, as Jean and the white-haired man stand by. But the white-haired man's focus shifts to a new face, a sharp-eyed youth locking gazes with him. Those dark eyes, sharp as blades. Making the white-haired man declare him an attractive villain, perfectly set to exploit everything. Introducing Yeo Haraidun, the most high village chief of the Yeo clan, driven out by the white dragon's enlightenment. Cloaked in red, a fiery aura blazing around him, he was the ultimate martyr. Amidst swirling forest energy, he and his allies were constant thorns in the white dragon's side. He turns his back and walks, his mission undeniable. He can't help but feel a twisted sense of self-pity, recognizing the classic villain trope he's embodying, yet finding it undeniably captivating. He remembers the legends, the protagonist even went head-to-head with the Dragon King. And now, with his own power, that kind of challenge feels tantalizingly close. And with the white dragon's martial arts stripped away, he's practically begging to be exploited. This is his chance, and he's going for it. A menacing red energy erupts around Yeo Haraidun as he squares off against the white-haired man and his daughter, his eyes burning with an unspoken question about the girl's state. The white-haired man is stunned, reeling back in shock, while Yeo Haraidun presses him, her fine veins, all of them. The white-haired man starts to lay out the grim truth, his face etched with concern. He points to his daughter, a fragile figure lying motionless. Her delicate veins are now completely exposed, leaving her utterly vulnerable and alone, he reveals, making Yeo Haraidun wonder what he's getting at. For the next 10 days, she's got to meditate and channel her internal energy directly through those veins, her eyes already shimmering with a soft blue glow as the intense process kicks off. Her condition was dire, but the doctor dropped a bombshell, 10 days of meditation, and she'd be channeling internal energy through those fine veins like a pro. Her father was practically vibrating with relief, letting out a massive phew at the good news. Then, her eyes snapped open, and a voice whispered, "Is that really Geikian?" Geikian, the little warrior, locked eyes with her dad, muttering a tiny, but powerful, "Thank you." Suddenly, the white dragon appeared, declaring, "Yes. You're alive. You're going to live." Her father, the white-haired man, confessed he was at his breaking point, barely holding it together. Geikian, eyes wide and full of life, looked at the white dragon, thanking him for literally saving her life. The white dragon subtly adjusted his stance. Before flashing a gentle smile and telling her that her dad had already covered the "thank you for saving my life" part. With Geikian resting, the white dragon reveals the truth, her recovery isn't just her father's sacrifice, it's a mind-blowing display of her own raw power. He breaks it down, her insane talent for channeling internal energy through her superfine veins nearly wiped her out, but she somehow pulled through. Even at such a young age, facing unimaginable pressure, she powered through the brutal training. The white dragon watches her, a deep thought crossing his mind. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but Geikian? She's a fresh sapling, ready to explode with growth. Her sheer will to survive against impossible odds, channeling even a tiny bit of energy through her delicate veins, is absolutely insane. This raw, undeniable talent, proves she's destined for greatness. A serious look crosses the white dragon's face as he ponders her future. She's his age, and if she keeps this up, she's going to be unstoppable. But elsewhere, in a flash of raw power, a young Yeo Haraidun unleashes a devastating attack, his blade tearing through the air in a crimson blur. Standing next to an ancient, white-haired figure, he declares Geikian will one day dominate the world, just like the legendary Most High Village chief of the Yeo clan. The white dragon cradles the girl, his mind racing with possibilities, knowing that in a single, pivotal moment, she could ascend to legendary status or plunge into utter destruction, her destiny hanging precariously in the balance. But elsewhere, a younger, fiercely determined Yeo Haraidun vows that he won't rest, won't pause, until his ultimate objective is within his grasp. He ponders if this is the perfect moment to initiate his master plan, to finally start pulling in his prey, his mind already calculating every move. Strolling along a vibrant, winding forest path, he admits with a hint of uncertainty that, truthfully, he still can't fully grasp his master's ultimate design. Gazing up at the colossal canopy, he bitterly acknowledges that even if vengeance burned in his heart, he's been stripped of the strength to ever achieve it. Facing the venerable elder, Yeo Haraidun passionately declares that throughout his life, he's witnessed an endless parade of martial arts prodigies, only for most to fizzle out as mere third-rate fighters. He turns, a grim certainty in his voice, asserting that he knows precisely how their stories always conclude, a disheartening march towards utter mediocrity. His gaze sharpens, a fierce determination etched on his face as he contemplates his own destiny, a destiny he believes will defy all expectations. He declares with unwavering conviction that, if nothing else, he is undeniably more fortunate than the vast majority. Beside the white-haired elder, Yeo Haridun takes it all in as the man beams about his daughter, Gakian, who's already smashed through a massive barrier at such a tender age. A soft, proud smile spreads across the white-haired man's face as he looks to the sky, declaring there's absolutely nothing more a father could ever wish for. And Gakian, her face absolutely beaming with pure, unadulterated joy, echoes his words, proclaiming she has everything she could ever want. But Yeo Haridun's eyes burn with a fierce resolve, his mind already miles ahead of their idyllic scene. He wants her to live a long, happy life, but he absolutely cannot let her live a peaceful one. He's going to make her the strongest. He's convinced that with ultimate strength, she'll be able to live a life totally free from fear, doing whatever she wants, because he knows the martial world is a brutal, unforgiving game. The white-haired man starts to move off. Yeo Haridun's mind suddenly snaps into overdrive, a shocking realization hitting him, this is exactly like that one part in the novel. He flashes back to a crushing defeat against the demon cult, where everything went sideways, fast. But then, someone chugged a sacred pill, and bam. They hit the next level. The white-haired man stands alone, his back to the world, staring out at a vast, cloudy expanse. Unbeknownst to him, Yeo Haridun watches from behind, his mind racing with the weight of his destiny, knowing this is his only shot, because his future has already been irrevocably altered. As they walk together through the tall grass, Yeo Haridun finally breaks the silence, asking, "Will you grant me a wish?" An ancient figure, white hair flowing, stands in a mystical forest, turning to ask a pivotal question. Asking, "Will you grant me a wish?" The young man, caught off guard, stares in disbelief, his voice echoing, "A wish. What is it?" The old man locks eyes with him, cutting straight to the chase, "I want to learn your martial arts one last time." He then casually adds, "Nothing crazy, just something like that." The young man's face falls, a clear problem emerging, "But I don't have my bow with me." "Ah." The old man just gives a casual shrug, his eyes gleaming with intrigue, "Let's just say I'm curious." The young man's mind races, "I've never tried anything like that, but..." After a beat of intense thought, Jean makes his move, committing to the challenge. He knows this might be his only shot, a one-way ticket, so he's going all in, no regrets. The old master, ever the humble legend, jokes about his own lack and asks for patience, but you know he's secretly a powerhouse. Then, Jean drops the bomb, revealing his secret technique, the legendary, evil-vanquishing archery. This isn't just any archery, it's a spiritual weapon against evil, forged in the ancient wisdom of Buddhism and Taoism. The old master chimes in, explaining the deeper philosophy. Buddhism's goal is freedom from illusion, a mind-over-matter journey to ultimate enlightenment. As Jean takes flight, a blur of motion, the old man's wisdom resonates, hinting at the epic spiritual power behind his every move. Watching the intense training, Jean can't help but question if the white-haired man has truly gone all in, because he can barely feel any inner energy from his core. But the white-haired man is already moving, taking swift, precise steps. Then launching himself into the air with powerful, almost ethereal grace. Jin's eyes are locked on him, a thoughtful expression on his face, never breaking his intense focus as the training pushes forward. The white-haired man's eye is a laser beam of concentration, every single cell in his body screaming dedication to the next move. He unleashes a devastating mid-air kick, his mind locked onto his last thoughts, a pure display of his unbreakable resolve. Jin's eyes snap wide open, a clear shockwave of surprise, or maybe even dawning comprehension, rippling across his face. The white-haired man drives forward with a focused punch, his entire body a living conduit for pure, unadulterated power. And as his fist rips through the air, a vibrant blue, wind-like aura explodes around his arm, a jaw-dropping manifestation of his surging internal energy. Suddenly, an explosive burst of crimson energy detonates around him. It rapidly condenses, becoming an unstoppable point of pure, concentrated power. Then, a furious maelstrom of green and blue energy erupts, twisting into a violent vortex. The chaotic energies converge, forming an incredibly intense core. The sheer, overwhelming force of his own unleashed power blasts the white-haired man backward, his body struggling against the immense surge. Jin's eyes snap wide open, utterly shocked by the unbelievable power unfolding before him. But he's not done. With an insane surge of will, the white-haired man's fist clenches, crackling with furious crimson energy. His devastating strike slams home, meeting Jin's desperate defense with an earth-shattering impact. Bathed in a blazing red aura, the white-haired man unleashes an absolutely crushing blow, leaving Jin completely floored and reeling from the sheer, unadulterated power. Was that even real? A lingering haze blurs his vision, making him question everything that just went down. But he snaps back to reality, focusing on the raw power in his hand. The insane tension of the bowstring, and the intricate seams of the arrow itself. Suddenly, a soft blue energy starts to gather around the weapon. And he can literally feel the texture of the feathering, or maybe the lack of it, as green energy swirls around the fletching. Woon Ji-sung, the white-haired master, stands ready, his red eyes blazing as he pulls that bowstring back. His entire body a masterpiece of balance and control. His face is pure, unadulterated focus. As he mentally commands himself, take position, and breathe. The arrow launches with an explosive burst, a blinding emerald streak tearing through the air. His inner voice commands, sharp and clear, release, then position the hands. Without a second thought, the next command rings out, position the hands, and pull the bowstring. A blur of motion, the string recoils, leaving only a fading emerald afterimage. As luminous white patterns bloom around him, the white-haired master declares his ultimate truth, with the bow and arrow, I must become one. That is the essence of all archery. His hand, still humming with residual green energy, holds the lingering echo of immense power. His eyes pierce the distance, the glowing patterns a silent witness, as he questions the very purpose of his mastery, what lies at the end of these movements. A rapid-fire sequence of flawless hand forms and grips ignites in his memory, the culmination of relentless, brutal training. A fierce resolve hardens his features, his eyes locked onto an invisible destiny. The Gongmyang, Jin declares, is the ultimate truth. His feet glide with impossible grace. A sharp hu dash punctuating the air as his hand snaps shut. The white-haired master's eyes burn with intensity, each movement, honed through tens of thousands of repetitions, becoming an undeniable part of his very being. A sacred ritual, like countless prayers. His gaze, razor-sharp, locks onto an unseen target. Bow drawn, he stands poised. But a deeper question echoes in his mind, is mere satisfaction enough? What grand destiny awaits at the culmination of these movements, and will it finally reveal the true Gongmyang? Woon Ji-sung unleashes a flurry of perfectly executed movements, each arrow a testament to countless, relentless repetitions. But even after endless, continuous practice, he still feels miles away from the ultimate mastery he craves. He's left wondering why he can't hit that elusive peak, relentlessly repeating the same motions, over and over, all for the Gongmyang. Is he just turning potential energy into raw kinetic power? He thought that was the absolute pinnacle of his skill. He truly thought that was the peak. But then, a new perspective hits him, as the white-haired man, deep in thought, lets out a quiet sigh. He suddenly understands that what he thought was the peak was actually just the beginning. He's still deep in thought, his voice a low rumble as he questions the young archer, pondering what legacy he'll truly leave behind. His eyes are far away, the white-haired man diving deep into the core of his existence, his self. But the young Woon Ji-sung, with his dark, wild hair, is locked in, his face a mask of pure focus, all in on his training. Brow furrowed, every muscle screaming, he's pushing past his limits, driving himself harder. Then, out of nowhere, a raw burst of energy explodes around him. A wild green and yellow aura engulfing his entire body, his eyes burning with raw, untamed power. The sheer force of it warps the very air, bending the bamboo forest around him. Leaving the young Woon Ji-sung absolutely stunned, his eyes wide with shock at the explosive power. An insane wave of chi just explodes from him, sending shockwaves everywhere. This is way beyond anything the ancient texts even hinted at. Golden energy just absolutely explodes around him, completely engulfing his form as he stands there, radiating pure power. Confirming the absolute truth, he's hit the legendary level of spiritual archery.